raid that ended with 26-year-old Breonna Taylor dead. Once again on Wall Street this hour, the Dow futures up 211 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really white and nerdy. My class there at MIT. Got skills. I'm a champion of D&D.
Hey, good morning, and welcome once again to the Good Morning Artesia radio show as we get things rolling on a Wednesday. And sitting here, let's get that back to where that's supposed to be. Okay. I tell you, Windows computers are just funny things. They're just, let's give Gene a hard time today. And so this laptop sits here in the studio. Doesn't go anywhere. Sits here in the studio, and I close it usually at the end of the day, so we use it on the air, and then I close it, and then I opened it, and it didn't know it was connected to the internet. It didn't know it had this to do. It didn't know it had that to do, and I'm thinking, all I did was I finished a radio show at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, lowered the lid on the laptop, and left the room. I didn't touch it. I didn't ask it to do anything. I didn't require it to do anything. I lifted the lid to open up the laptop to use for the show today, and it's like, I'm not connected to the internet. There's no Wi-Fi networks available. I'm like, well, what were you connected to yesterday at this time? Anyway, got a lot on the show today. We're going to talk some Lady Bulldog basketball. They had a big win last night at the Pit as they defeated the Lovington Lady Wildcats. And I thought I had the score up there. No, I'm not going to. Now we're having the daily argument with the ad blocker, Max Preps. You've got to unlock your ad blocker. Please unlock your ad blocker. while we block 45, 47, 49, 50, 52, 54, 57 ads, trackers, and other associated things from this one website. It's like, no, we're not going to turn that off. It's really arguing with me today. You've got to unlock your ad blocker. We have got to flood your computer with 60, 70, 80, 90 things that we need to track you with. No, you're not going to track me across the internet. Stop it. Anyway, 59-44 was the final last night at the Bulldog Pit. So it sets up the next phase of the District 4 4A basketball tournament. The boys from Lovington defeated Portales last night. So, again, that sets up the next phase of the tournament. So the Goddard Rockets and the Lady Rockets lay in waiting for last night's victors. Both the Goddard girls and boys finished number 2 in the district. So that's why they are next up on the road. So the Lovington Wildcats go to Goddard to play the Rockets at 7 o'clock on Thursday. And at 5:30 on Thursday, the Lady Bulldogs head to Ground Zero to take on the Goddard Lady Rockets. And that will be at 5:30, as I said, on Thursday. Now, the winners of the Thursday night games then play for the district tournament championship. And the girls' district tournament championship will be Friday night, 6 o'clock in Portales. And the boys' district tournament championship will be Friday night, 6 o'clock in Artesia. So that's what's next up for the district tournament. The Roswell Coyotes and Lady Coyotes went up to Clovis last night. The district. That district, which is Hobbs, Carlsbad, Clovis, and Roswell, is all lined up exactly the same on the boys and the girls side. So the Roswell Coyotes and Lady Coyotes were the 4 seed. Clovis, boys and girls, were the 3 seed. Carlsbad is the number 2 seed, and then Hobbs, Eagles, and Lady Eagles are the number 1 seed. So Clovis, boys and girls having won last night, head down to Carlsbad. And they will play the Carlsbad Cave Girls and Cave Men on Thursday down in Carlsbad. And then the championship games will be at Hobbs. So that kind of covers the big schools in our area and what's going on. One of the most exciting plays last night, Audrey Vello hit a 3-point half-court shot at the buzzer at the end of the first half. And it was such a great momentum builder and such a great way to end the first half because Lovington was kind of scrappy and tough in that first quarter into the second quarter. And the second quarter is when the Lady Bulldogs finally started to stretch the lead out and start to pull away from Lovington. And then you cap it off with that big 3-point bucket there at the buzzer at the end of the first half. That was pretty exciting. That made our highlight reel anyway. And great way to end the half. And the Lady Bulldogs go on to win 59-44 over Lovington. So Lovington is eliminated. I don't think that they're going to be invited. It's kind of like the Roswell Coyotes and Lady Coyotes. When I got home last night, I was watching the end of the Roswell boys game. Art and Kelly were doing the play-by-play and commentary, and they both kind of insinuated that was it for the Roswell boys and girls basketball programs. They did not feel that they were going to get a slot in the basketball tournament. They've had a pretty rough season this year. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. Let's see what kind of weather we're going to be dealing with today. Steve, what do you know?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind and cool temperatures again today with a cold front moving into eastern New Mexico. We'll be in the mid to upper 40s, wind gusting to 30 miles per hour, but we should have sunshine. Pretty cold for the overnight hours and windy. Our low dropping to about 20 and clear. Then we'll be getting sunshine on Thursday. Afternoon high stays in the mid 50s to around 60. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. We appreciate that update there. Looks like I need to get into there. There we go. All right, what do we have? Oh, it's kind of chilly out there today. What? Must be winter or something like that. Partly cloudy and 17 at this hour. Our humidity is 43%. The dew point is -1 degree right now. Our winds are northeasterly at 8, so it feels like it's 7 out there. Pressure 30.41 and rising. Our air quality index rating is 31, which is good. Our sunset will be at 5:49 this afternoon. Our sunrise at 6:31 in the morning. Around the region, mostly sunny, 19 in Carlsbad, 16 in Roswell. Mostly cloudy and 16 in Hobbs. Mostly sunny, 18 in Albuquerque, 15 in Santa Fe. Partly cloudy, 31 in Cloudcroft. Mostly sunny, 25 in Ruidoso, 44 in Las Cruces. Partly cloudy and 36 in Farmington. Mostly cloudy, 21 at Red River. Clovis, it's cold in Clovis right now, mostly sunny and 7. And over there in the free state of Texas, Lubbock, checking in with mostly cloudy skies and 15. And here in Artesia, it's partly cloudy and 17 degrees. Lunch menus today. It's going to be morning sausage roll for breakfast in the Artesia schools today. Chicken chalupa tostada. Pinto beans, lettuce, and tomato, and mixed fruit cocktail for lunch today. So it's chicken chalupa tostada and pinto beans for lunch at the Artesia schools. Senior meal site, fried chicken, mac and cheese, broccoli, roll with margarine, and diced pineapple. So it's fried chicken today at the Artesia senior meal site. Artesia Senior Center, exercise video at 8:15, tops at 9, jewelry class at 9:30, beginner line dancing at 9:30. Then after lunch, it's wood burning at 1, bridge at 1, dominoes, train at 1, sewing at 1:30, and the exercise video at 4 o'clock. At the library today, it's baby rhyme time at 10 o'clock, and then Yarn United will unite at noon today at the Artesia Public Library. Yarn United. Birthdays today. We've got Wanda Waldrop celebrating a birthday, Bob Bishop, Maria Garcia, James Combs, Amy Jo Russell, all celebrating birthdays today. So I'm sure it's Amy Jo. It says any. I just read that. I bet it's Amy Jo, not any Joe. Not any Joe Russell. It's Amy Jo Russell. So happy birthday to everybody at Artesia. Okay, schools calendar today. Artesia High School on AM assembly schedule. There's PLC meetings going on later today. Hermosa Spring Picture Day. National FFA Week continues. After school fine arts at Yeso at 3:40. And the Roselawn After School Fine Arts at 3:40 today at Yeso. So Fine Arts is at Yeso, and Roselawn's going to Yeso's, if I read that correctly. Okay, we're going to take a break, talk some Lady Bulldog basketball coming up next.
For real, measurable change, vote Jeff Yahtzee for mayor of Artesia.
Being raised in the city of champions, I am committed to focusing on our grand traditions, values, and the unmatched pride in our city. I have a solid vested interest in Artesia. Like you, my family lives, works, and plays here every day. My grandchildren go to school here. In fact, my reason for running for the office of mayor is to give your family and mine the best possible chance at success and happiness. Vote Tuesday, March 1st for Jeff Yahtzee, mayor of Artesia. Thank you for your support.
A pastor once told the true story of a man who experienced a rude awakening in church. Now, he generally slept in church, so he dropped off like he always did, only this time there was a power outage that left the auditorium in total darkness. Now, the pastor didn't use notes, and he just kept right on preaching. Somewhere towards the end of the sermon, the groggy parishioner woke up. He rubbed his eyes, but couldn't see a thing. He heard the preacher, and he could feel his wife and daughter on both sides of him, but everything was pitch black. In a state of panic, he stood up and declared, "Help me, I'm blind." Laughter filled the darkened room, and one complacent church member experienced revival at the altar of embarrassment, and one blessed pastor enjoyed poetic justice. The Bible says in Proverbs 6:4, "Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids." Are you going through the motions of life in a groggy daze? What's it going to take to wake you up and allow you to see clearly? Maybe you attended church as a child or a young adult, but got busy in life, or maybe you had a hurt somewhere down the line and have drawn away from the house of God. Well, here at New Hope Baptist Church, I can promise you that you'll never be drifting off to sleep in one of our services. New Hope is a place to learn, to love, and to live life with other like-minded families who are ready to show you compassion on your journey. Join us this Sunday at New Hope Baptist Church right here in Artesia, where there's new hope for a new you.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Renee runs with us because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Hear Renee's story at Deere.com.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
When I was young, I thought I had forever to prepare for retirement. But as the years went by, retirement got closer and closer. Well, I wish I'd have started saving 10 years earlier.
How you spend your retirement depends on what you do now while you're still working. We've helped a lot of area seniors prepare for retirement. Stop in and see us about saving for yours. Western Bank of Artesia. We're big on you. Member FDIC.
We need a dedicated leader as mayor of Artesia, someone with the time and experience to serve and who is dedicated to Artesia. Please vote for Luis Flores for mayor.
I believe in a vision before a plan, because the difference would be about planning the future with imagination and wisdom. I believe a plan would be more effective once you have your team assembled, because you would be able to achieve your vision that you had in mind. I believe that before you can execute a vision or a plan, you must be able to unite a team so that you would be able to bring your team together and buy into your vision and plan. I believe that a leader would be able to command his team and work towards a vision, a plan with communication in a united effort. I believe I can be that leader for Artesia.
Tuesday, March 1st, vote for a mayor who is experienced in local government, who has the time to serve, and most of all, will be 100% focused on representing the citizens of Artesia. Vote Luis Flores, mayor of Artesia. Hey, we're back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and it's time to talk a little Lady Bulldog basketball. And joining us in the studio today, Hattie Harrison. Good morning, Hattie.
Good morning.
And Lauren Wagner. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
Big win last night. It's radio, so you have to. They're over here shaking their heads, you know. Yeah, so, yeah, big win last night.
Yeah.
That's great. So, what was exciting about the win for you guys? Hattie, what did you think was great about the game last night?
I don't know. We did have a lot of mistakes that went throughout the game, but I don't know. We pulled through.
Yep.
We ended up winning by like 20, so I thought that was good.
Yep, 59-44 was the final. Lauren, how about for you? What were some of the high points of the game last night?
I'm not sure. Probably Audrey's half-court shot really just set it off. We're all excited after that, and it just went out.
Yeah.
Good.
That was pretty amazing. Yeah, we made a highlight clip out of that because it was highlight worthy.
Yeah.
So, what did she say after she made that shot?
I think she was pretty excited.
Yeah.
She was happy.
Well, that's good. So Hattie, you said that the team made mistakes yet last night?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it was our goal not to have any turnovers, and first play of the game, turned it over. It was just, I don't know, we didn't have the best passes. I think everyone kind of struggled a little, but I don't know.
So in a game like that, not that particular play or anything like that, when there's a big crowd and there's a lot of people yelling and the band's playing and stuff like that, what do you actually hear when you're down on the court going back and forth? Do you hear any of that at all?
No.
You just hear the coaches?
I just hear the coaches and the players, and that's it.
Yeah. So do you ever talk with the other players? Like, are there players on the Lovington team that do you ever say anything to? Or
not Lovington. But like other teams, yeah. Sometimes we talk down there if like something funny happened or a mistake was called, or yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes that happens. You ever get called for a foul and you know it wasn't you?
Yes, that happened last night.
Oh, that happened last night?
Yes.
It's like, I didn't foul. Well, it happens. I mean, what, did they just call the wrong number, you think?
No, they called, because she ran into me, but then they called a body foul on me, and so she had to shoot, too.
Yeah. Well, and one of the players' sister is on our video crew. And so her sister comes out. She gets called for a foul, and her sister's on the headset to me. What did she do wrong? So you never think you do anything wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you, when you have a pass that goes bad or something like that, do you have to just kind of play through it, don't you? You have to.
Yeah.
Can't dwell on anything like that. But at the same time, when you have a big play, like you make a big bucket or you get a big block or something like that, don't get to celebrate that too much either. So, well, good. Well, next is Goddard. How many times has Artesia played Goddard this year? At least twice, right?
Twice.
Yeah.
Any more than that?
No, just twice.
Just the 2 times. Once here and then once there. Get to play him again. Third time going to be a charm?
Yeah. We hope so.
Yeah. What is it that Goddard does really well that you guys have to prepare for?
They shoot really well.
Oh, and there's one that's really good at driving.
Yeah.
And they do have some big girls.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good for in the paint. But I think we size up well with them.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we can win.
Do that. So So what are you guys focusing on? What is it that you have to be ready to do to beat Goddard?
I think our defense. We've been working on that a lot when we get ready to play them.
Rebounding.
Yeah, rebounding, boxing out.
You think that's going to be on the list of things in practice today?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it'll be fun. What's practice like? Is it fun? Is it tough? Does it kind of depend on the previous game?
It's tough, but we're having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
Are there some drills that you do every time? I mean, is there a routine that you go through every time?
Yes, we usually start up with warm up, and then we go into 3-on-3,
3-on-3,
4-on-3, 5-4
transition.
Yeah.
And that's my least favorite.
Yeah,
I hate doing that.
I hate transition.
Don't like transition? What's wrong with transition?
It's a lot of running back and forth.
Well, you got to be in shape,
Yeah.
Because have you ever thought about how many times there's a transition in a game? How many times that goes on?
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. So, well, that's good. Do you have a game day routine? Is there special socks that you wear? Is there a special breakfast that you eat? Is there special music that you listen to?
I drink a Red Bull before every game.
Okay. What is the slogan there? Gives you wings? How about you, Hattie? Is there something game day? You gotta have something on game day.
I usually just try to wear the same exact things that I wore, I had a good game. I usually try to wear the same things I wore that day.
Okay, just bring you good luck on all that. So did you have a good game last night?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. So you'll be wearing that again on Thursday. So whatever that is. So that's good. Well, how is the mood of the team right now? I mean, big win last night. Got Goddard coming up. Chance to beat Goddard and play Portales for the district tournament championship. Everybody in pretty good shape?
Yeah. They're pretty good. Getting along.
Yeah, we actually get along really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Looking forward to a chance, because if you get a couple of more wins this week, chances are you're going to be in the state basketball tournament. Would that be nice?
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be nice.
Have either one of you ever played in the pit before?
No.
Have you watched a game in the pit?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the last time you watched, or what was it that you got to see in the pit? Do you remember?
It was a long time ago.
A long time ago, huh? You were just a baby?
Yeah, I was like a toddler. I don't know.
Hattie, have you ever been to the pit in Albuquerque?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So not to watch anything, a concert or a game or anything like that. It's big. But then the coach is going to do the old routine from the Hoosiers movie, you know. Court's the same length, it's the same width, the basket's the same height. But, you know, instead of, you know, a couple thousand people like you might see here, it could be 10,000 people.
Yeah.
The horn is loud, you know. It's just, and you get to come down that ramp and do all that. Are you guys in any other sports? Have you been in any other sports this year?
Yes, we both do track and volleyball.
Track and volleyball. So well, and let's see. Well, wasn't the state? Well, no, the state volleyball tournament was out at Rio Rancho, right? Is that where the state volleyball tournament was? Okay, it wasn't in the pit. So you got the state volleyball title. Track and field. Hattie, what do you do on the track team?
So I run hurdles. I do the 100 meter and 300 meter, and then I do high jump.
Okay. Well, transition then ought to be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Although, and when you're running, it's all in the same direction. You don't have to stop and go the other way.
Yeah.
Right? Lauren, you're on the track team?
Yes.
What do you do?
I do shot put.
Shot put. Okay. So have you thought about practicing on that yet, or you wait until basketball season before you even think about that?
I'm waiting until basketball season's over because usually my shoulder gets sore like the first 2 weeks of throwing shot.
Yeah, and you don't want that to mess up
basketball.
What's the longest you've ever thrown a shot put?
I think it was like 35 something.
Wow.
It was my personal record for state.
Okay. So how heavy is the? I mean, what do you call that?
A shot put.
A shot put. How big and heavy is that thing?
It's about 8 pounds.
8 pounds?
Yeah, it's pretty big, pretty heavy.
Why did you decide to do shot put?
I was good at it, I guess. I don't know.
You pick up stuff around the house and throw it?
No.
And you have to throw it a certain way, right?
Yeah.
You know, do that. What's the key to? I mean, what's the technique? What is it that you have to do to make sure you get it a long throw?
You just have to make sure that it like leaves your hand right and that you don't like pull it away from your face. And you have like the right like momentum going on to get it out there.
Okay. So do you have your own shot put, or when you go to an event, are there a bunch of them there and you just have to use one of those?
Well, I personally have my own shot put, but usually for track meets, there's shot puts at the pit or Morrisfield, wherever we go, and we bring those to the meets and we use them.
Okay. Do they get like weighed and checked out to make sure they're the right shape and the right weight and all that? Has one ever been tossed out, if you will?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. So where does one buy a shot put? Are they on the Walmart, you know? Are they?
I'm guessing online. I'm not sure.
So, Hattie, you don't have to worry about things like shot puts and stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
You just got to run over those hurdles. So who inspired you to do that? Or what was your, you decided to go out to track and coach said, you're going to run hurdles?
It was my sister. I like doing the same thing she does. I like competing against her. So,
yeah.
And she was really good. So
okay. Well, have you beaten her yet? Or have you beaten her best time yet?
No.
No.
She's really good.
Yeah, but you're gonna work on it there.
Yeah.
So what? So what's the key to being successful in the hurdles? Now, how high up are the hurdles?
I don't know the exact length, but it's nothing compared to the boys. The boys was really high. It's like a little lower than my hip.
Okay.
So which is pretty big, I guess. And then, yeah, I don't know.
And so you have to think about when to jump, right?
Yeah. It's kind of mental, like you can't get in your head or you're going to mess up. And last year I struggled with that. I got in my head. But this year I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. What's your best time?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you're just going to try to improve upon that and get better. So when you run hurdles, is it just it's in meters, right? Don't they measure the length in meters? So what's a typical, like, where do you start and where do you end on a typical event?
So, like, for the ones, it's just like a 100 meter. And then for the threes, it's like 3/4 of the track.
Okay.
So you start here and then end here.
So now, have you ever been on any other teams, any of the relay teams, or just the straight running events?
No. I wanted to try the 200 last year because I broke a record in the elementary, and I thought I'd be good if I tried it out, but I never did. And then I really want to be in the 4x1, so I'm going to try my best to get into that.
Okay. Do what you need to do to get into that event. So 4x1, that's, is that 4 different?
It's 4 different people run a 100.
All right. So, and then is there anything you hand off, or is it just...
Yes. It's, so...
There is a baton or something that you have to hand off to the next... Yeah, that's usually where mistakes are made.
Yeah.
So in the 4x100, do you want to be first, second, third, fourth? Where do you think you'd be best to help the team out?
I think based on the time I ran, because we have to time for the 100, I think I would be good at starting. Because I think when we timed, I was top 3, so I think that would be good.
Good start. Make everybody else get worried that they're going to be left behind and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's good. All right, let's go back to basketball. Got Goddard on Thursday night. Be nice if there were a lot of folks there to watch you guys.
Yeah,
it would be.
Like the crowd when you hear the crowd cheering and all that good stuff. So, what's the key to winning on Thursday night? Played them twice now, so you pretty well know them. What's I don't want you to give up any secrets, but you guys have some like trick plays or something special planned for Goddard on Thursday night? You don't have to say what it is.
Well, we've been working on. We did learn some new plays recently.
Okay.
That are pretty good. I just think we need to hit our shots.
Better shots and better passes and rebound, I think, is the key.
The fundamentals.
Yeah.
You ever hear the barking guy? He was barking last night.
I think I heard him a couple of times.
Yeah. When he came in the pit last night, he was just barking away. Bark, 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 bark. So he's a big fan. And if he's not at the game, he's listening or watching. So he'll be rooting for you if he doesn't go to Goddard tomorrow night. Well, very good. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anybody you want to say hi to? Anything I've been wanting to say this and you want to blurt it out?
Not really.
All right. Well, good luck Thursday night. And then, of course, when you get the win, good luck on Friday. And in Portales, Hattie Harrison, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Lauren Wagner, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. We'll see you guys on Thursday. All right. Let's take a break, see what's happening in the world of the news.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Zarello. The Biden administration now delaying decisions on new oil and gas drilling on federal land and other energy-related actions. After a federal court blocked the way officials were calculating the real-world costs of climate change. The administration says in a legal filing last week, the ruling by a Louisiana federal judge would affect dozens of rules by at least 4 federal agencies. Among the immediate effects, an indefinite delay in planned oil and gas lease sales on public lands in a half dozen states, including New Mexico. Lots of allegations regarding a candidate running for Roswell mayor. Chavez County Sheriff Mike Harrington released a video Tuesday on social media disputing claims that he says are circulating in the community that Tim Jennings was treated favorably after a possible DWI incident in early 2019. Harrington said, based on the facts of the case, the Sheriff's Department has no proof that Jennings was driving drunk the night that he crashed his truck 2 years ago. You can see the video posted to the Chavez County Sheriff's Facebook page. Harrington went on to say that he is not endorsing any candidate for Roswell mayor. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Now more than ever, you need to stay as healthy as possible. At Lowell's Pharmacy, we want to help by providing flu shots and COVID-19 vaccines. Now is the time to come into Lowell's Pharmacy for your flu shot. Employers can schedule with Lowell's to conduct a flu shot clinic at your place of business. And it's okay to get your flu shot and COVID-19 vaccination at the same time. You will have to register for your vaccine at nmvaccine.org. The key to staying healthy is exercise, eat nutritional foods, keep up your appointments with your doctor, and get the flu shot and COVID-19 vaccine at Lowell's Pharmacy, across from the hospital on North 13th in Artesia.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. Tell you what, the Lovington Wildcats girls basketball team had no answer last night for Lauren Wagner of the Artesia Bulldogs. Artesia played Lovington in the district basketball tournament, and Artesia wins 59-44. Lauren Wagner scores 30 points for the Lady Dogs. Addie Harrison added 12, and Artesia moves on. They will be playing at Goddard tomorrow in the next round of the district tournament. Chance to redeem themselves after losing to Goddard recently and giving up that second place position in the district standings. Also, last night it was the end of the season for the Loving Falcons boys basketball team. They lost to Eunice 71-32. The girls from Loving saw their season end Monday night, 53-50 against Hagerman. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio, AM 990.
Can Russia's invasion harm the average American like you and me? I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by CarShield. Love your car? Get it protected at carshield.com/Kim and save 10%. Deductible may apply. The answer is yes. Americans can and probably will be affected by a war in Europe. With our sanctions against Russia, it may very well retaliate. Fiber optic cables can be cut. Satellites carrying our internet traffic, our banking, control of water treatment, power plants, the power grid, and cellular phones can be disabled. That includes the GPS network, harming trucking and transportation. Now, I'm not advocating going to full survivalist mode, but we are so dependent on technology now that I'm recommending that you do prepare. Don't rely solely on debit or credit cards. Stash a small amount of cash away. Keep your vehicle at least half full. Have a month's worth of your prescription drugs at home and in reach. Batteries and flashlights are handy, as are extra canned goods in the pantry. And get breaking tech news 24/7 at commando.com.
Have you ever wanted to know what's happening at home when you're not there? I'm a big fan of SimpliSafe's new wireless outdoor camera. It lets you see what's happening outside right from your phone and alerts you when anyone approaches, so you always know who's there. This brand new camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and security features you want and need to help keep you and your family safe. SimpliSafe has everything you need, from entry and motion sensors to indoor and outdoor cameras. SimpliSafe is monitored 24/7 by professionals ready to dispatch police, firefighters, or EMTs to your home. SimpliSafe is less than $1 a day, and you can set it up in around 30 minutes. There are no long-term contracts or commitments. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera, plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Go to simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
Turpinning & Son Mortuary presents a listing of today's obituaries. Services are scheduled for 2 p.m. Friday, February 25th at Turpinning & Son Chapel for Cecil Pollard of Hagerman, New Mexico, who passed away February 18th at his home in Hagerman at the age of 86. Wade Nelson will officiate at the services. Burial will follow at Hagerman Cemetery. Visitation will be at Turpinning & Son Mortuary from 2 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. Cecil was born in October 1935 in Mounds, Oklahoma. In March 1954, he was married to Yvonne Nelson in Hereford, Texas.
In lieu of flower, donations may be made to Hagerman Joy Center, Hagerman First Presbyterian Church, and Hagerman Loaves and Fishes Food Bank. Survivors include his wife, Yvonne Pollard, sons Bill Pollard and wife Becky, and Tom Pollard and wife Susie, a daughter, Debbie Pollard, grandchildren Blake Pollard, Boone Pollard, Brad Pollard, Audrey Foster, Candace Pollard, and Hannah Pollard, great-grandchildren Brooklyn Ivans, Holden Foster, and Maisie Pollard. Once again, services are 2 p.m. Friday, February 25th at Turpinning Sun Chapel in Artesia for Cecil Pollard, who passed away February 18th at 86. Burial will follow at Hagerman Cemetery. Visitation is at Turpinning and Son Mortuary tomorrow, 2 to 6 p.m. This listing has been presented as a service by Turpinning and Son Mortuary of Artesia, where we make it personal. Back with our next guest of the day coming up.
Artesia, if you're ready for a change in leadership on the City Council, Tuesday, March 1st, vote Richard Dickey Townley for City Council District 4.
I love Artesia. I love our community spirit and just how family-friendly Artesia is. As a city, we must address our lack of affordable housing so we can attract more families to live in this amazing community. Elect me on March 1st, and I will work to make that happen.
This ad paid for by Richard Dickey Townley, candidate for Artesia City Councilor, District 4.
West is the recovery resource for your small business. Tap into the Hobbs Business Center for services including consulting, training, loans, and much more. West is committed to helping transform the lives of entrepreneurs and business owners by creating a pathway to success. Our role is to educate, encourage, and inspire our clients to achieve their business goals. We offer training in both English and Spanish. Visit WESST.org to learn more. Funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration.
For real, measurable change, vote Jeff Yahtzee for mayor of Artesia.
Being raised in the City of Champions, I am committed to focusing on our grand traditions, values, and the unmatched pride in our city. I have a solid vested interest in Artesia. Like you, my family lives, works, and plays here every day. My grandchildren go to school here. In fact, my reason for running for the office of mayor is to give your family and mine the best possible chance at success and happiness. Vote Tuesday, March 1st for Jeff Yahtzee, mayor of Artesia. Thank you for your support.
Welcome to Answers with Ken Ham, presented by the Coalition of Christians for Biblical Creation and Steve and Cindy Anderson of Napa Auto Parts in Artesia. CCBC is an interdenominational coalition of Christians from Artesia who believe that the account of origins presented in Genesis is a simple but factual presentation of actual events. Answers with Ken Ham is brought to you by Steve and Cindy Anderson of Napa Auto Parts, proudly serving all of your automotive needs, individual and commercial, with quality Napa parts. Now, today's Answers with Ken Ham.
The missing links. This is Ken Ham, CEO of the Global Apologetics Ministry of Answers in Genesis. You may have heard the phrase, the missing links are still missing, and it's true. When asked for examples, evolutionists usually mention the so-called whale series, some ape-like creature, or maybe a fish fossil with lobe fins. But are these really missing links? No. You see, it's all about interpretation. Evolutionists interpret the fossils in the light of their worldview. They must have transitional fossils, so they force the evidence to fit their worldview. Now, in a biblical worldview, these missing links are simply variety within created kinds. So when you strip away the evolutionary storytelling, fossils don't contradict God's word.
Find answers regarding fossils, geology, and more when you visit us at AnswersRadio.com and listen to this program again or subscribe to receive free insights at AnswersRadio.com.
Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show and our Wednesday visit with one of our Artesia Public Schools administrators, Mr. Danny Parker, joins us here today. How are you doing, Mr. Parker?
I'm doing great. And it was great to hear those girls on the radio this morning. So proud of them and their teammates for moving past the first round of the district tournament. And we're excited about tomorrow night's game at Goddard.
Yeah.
And maybe they can just keep it going.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, there's no reason they can't.
Absolutely.
They've shown flashes of brilliance from time to time during the season, so they just kind of put that together for an extended period of time. Although it's at Goddard, so that's going to be going to be a little tough, but we'll figure it out.
Funny things happen in that gym. It just, even going back to when I was in high school, it was just a tough place to play. But I think our girls are peaking at the right time, and they're doing great. Our boys had a great game Monday night, and so.
Did you try to go to Hagerman Monday night?
You know, I really in the afternoon I was planning on going, and I thought, just let somebody else have the seat that I'll go home and watch it on the radio, and so. Yeah, it was really good, and packed house. That was fun, and just proud of our boys. They're doing a great job.
They're doing good, and then of course the spring sports are about to get started. So you're going to have baseball and softball and track and field, and
gearing up.
Yeah. How did do you remember how the swim team and the bowling team?
The swim team won district, and so I'm not really sure what happens from there. Our bowling team got second. They were doing great. They did great. They won second, but that final match, only the top two go, and you wipe out everything that's happened that day, and it's just head to head with those people, and we did very well. We had a lead going into that final game, and just Espanola just caught fire.
Wow!
And it was. I know those poor kids. They wanted one more game, to get past them. But Espanola won the blue trophy, and we brought home the red trophy. It's not what we're used to doing, but they had a great year, and it was, that's a lot of pressure when you have to. There's a lot of bowling on that last day. You have to beat the other teams to get to the championship round, and then everything's wiped out. It's what you did early that morning. I mean, we had a 400 pin lead or something like that, just something crazy. And of course, all that gets wiped out, and you have to start over. But kudos to Espanola for doing great things, and kudos to our team for taking that. And of course, Coach Clayton, it's like the mafia. He tries to get out, and they just keep pulling him back in. But we appreciate what he does with that bowling team, because he is. He's an excellent coach, and those kids know how to bowl under his guidance.
That's
for sure.
Good. That's good. And then we're going to have wrestling next year.
We are. That's exciting. The school board at the last meeting approved the new curriculum handbook for the high school, and in that handbook was wrestling. And so that's exciting. We're going to start talking next week about getting a wrestling facility just off the Red Brick Gym, and I think that's going to be an awesome thing. They'll have enough room for 2 big mats in that wrestling facility, and they'll use the locker rooms there at the Red Brick Gym, which are top-notch locker rooms. They're the newest locker rooms we have in the system, and so that's exciting for those kids, and we look for really good things happening with that program.
Might have to bring Wilburn back and show him the locker rooms over there at the Red Brick Gym.
Oh goodness, yeah.
I bet
he would be very jealous. Yeah, he did. When I was in high school, and of course Jim was the basketball coach when I was in basketball, and he used to talk about when you'd turn on the lights and all of the cockroaches would scatter. And he said he came in one morning and he turned on the lights and the cockroaches didn't scatter. They just started waving at him, and so he said that sounds just like Jim Wilburn, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
I have the Jim Wilburn stories. I could go on for days, but
we could do. Well, that's kind of exciting. So will the wrestling matches be in this wrestling facility, or will they be in the Red Brick Gym?
They'll be in the Red Brick Gym.
Okay.
To accommodate fans and everything. So yeah, that's just going to be a lot of fun. Boy, that was it was so much fun watching them in that match at the Red Brick Gym and
with Roswell.
And getting to see.
And
I
the
have
Roswell
no idea what was going on.
The Roswell coach was such a big proponent. I mean, they came down and they were helping to run the thing, and I mean, the coach there at Roswell High just wants everybody to do wrestling. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool to have that kind of support too.
Yeah, it is. It's talking to Mr. Skinner, he said that's just the way, that wrestling community is just so supportive of each other and everyone's programs. And so, he said that's just the way it is everywhere they went with, when they took the team. And so it's exciting to get to know that's coming up for our students. And,
well, let me ask you this. Last week, the governor decreed no more mandatory masks indoors. I watched a little bit of the video with Sally from the NMAA, and she talked about how it affected athletics and activities. How exactly across the board is that being implemented in the Artesia schools?
Well, it was very exciting for a good number of our kids and our teachers. They were very excited to have that option. If they felt like that's what was best. And we heard from some people that have been differently affected by COVID, and so we certainly want to be respectful of anyone's right to want to wear a mask and to do that. We just really understand that there have been people who have been deeply affected by COVID, and so that's one of the things that for the most part, though, we're excited to every time I leave my office, I turn around to go back to my desk to pick up my mask. I am very conditioned to do that, it's really good. We did receive word yesterday that because our buses are federally controlled as public transportation, that there are regulations that put them in that category, and the federal government has not yet released the mask mandate. And so for us to be in compliance with everything that we do with our buses, students and drivers do need to wear a mask on the bus, and we would love for that to be optional, just like everything else, but unfortunately, that's not it. And I know a lot of people would like for us to, to just say, well, we're not doing that. But it's one thing that I've thought about during all of this. We don't give the rule book to students and say, you pick and choose which rule you're going to follow as far as our schools. And so I think we have to be the model of that. We don't get to pick and choose the rules that we're paid to enforce. And, as administrators, we really have one job, and that is to follow the policies and follow the rules and regulations that are put to us. And I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but as a practitioner of education, I just think it's important that we model doing what we're supposed to do. And so we'll do that, and hopefully that mandate is lifted soon too, so that we can do. And that phrase local control is really coming down from Santa Fe a lot, and so hopefully that voice is being heard. And of course, our board has just done a great job of letting everyone know that we favor local control, and our school board are elected people too, and so that that's where we go. But we're just extremely excited that kids are in school. Kids don't have to wear a mask. Kids can wear a mask if they want to, and we're feeling normalcy creeping in. So that's a lot of fun.
It's not a bad thing. So on all the school facilities, at all the events, masks are optional. But on the buses, because they're federally regulated,
masks are required still on the buses.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
That's it. So, well, good deal. Got about 40 seconds. Anything else you want to cover today, Danny?
You know, I really don't. We have a lot of things. We're getting ready for budget for next year. Good news for our teachers. They're going to get a nice pay raise, and that's been a long time in coming. And I know our teachers have really they've proven they need that, and so that's a really positive thing. And we'll just keep we've got to turn our budget in earlier this year, so we're busy at the office trying to get everything worked in, but
very good.
That's all good.
Well,
Thank
Parker,
you, Gene.
Thank you so much for coming in.
All right,
that's it. So for the 7 o'clock hour, it's 8 o'clock. KSVP Artesia
news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Russian President Putin still not ruling out diplomacy to defuse the Ukraine crisis, even as more Russian troops gather near the border and after Russian troops stormed across the frontier into eastern Ukraine. The BBC's Steve Rosenberg in Moscow.
Vladimir Putin recorded an address to the military in which he said that Russia was open to direct and honest dialogue, but I wouldn't read too much into that, because he also in that speech said that Russia's interests, national interests, security interests were paramount. I think from what we've seen from Vladimir Putin, his actions in the last few days, he seems determined for escalation of the crisis.
Announcing more sanctions against Russia, President Biden saying the U.S. has no desire for a military dust-up with Russia.
In addition to slapping financial sanctions on Russian banks and individuals, the president is moving U.S. troops into several Baltic countries as a reinforcement.
These are totally defensive moves on our part. We have no intention of fighting Russia.
American forces will help bolster Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And the president stresses that U.S. troops are not going into Ukraine. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And Republicans sounding off about the Biden response. Senator Joni Ernst tweets, "We need to provide Ukraine resources like lethal aid and intel sharing and ramp up energy production here in the U.S." She adds, President Biden's doctrine of appeasement has made the world less safe. Around 700 unarmed National Guard troops authorized for deployment in Washington, D.C. ahead of the potential truckers convoy that could arrive in the Capitol next week. And prior to Tuesday's presidential State of the Union speech, Pentagon says those troops will assist with traffic control. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 39 points, the NASDAQ ahead 18 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm cute kid number 1. And I'm cute kid number 2. And we have been forced, you mean hired? We have been hired to tell you what direct lender FOMO is. So let's say you buy a new home, and maybe you use one of those big mortgage monsters.
Or someone your realtor or friend recommends.
And then a few months later, you hear us being forced, hired
to tell you about our mortgage team's direct lender advantage.
And then you feel like you missed out.
Because you probably did miss out.
And that is direct lender FOMO.
It's Ryan, and our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions within its own walls. There's no middleman. This often allows us to get you a better rate on that new home mortgage, saving you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLS-Consumer-Access.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Ryan Breck, NMLS number 65233. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
The world's number 2 mining company posting record earnings, more than $20 billion after a year of soaring commodity prices and growing demand from China.
Rio Tinto has benefited from inflation pushing prices up as the global economy continues to realign supply and demand after the disruption of the pandemic. Nonetheless, strong demand is a sign of a recovery. London-based Rio Tinto made almost $21.4 billion last year. It marks a strong first year for Chief Executive Jacob Stausholm, who took over in the wake of the hugely embarrassing destruction of Aboriginal caves in Australia. He said that the company was still learning from that mistake.
The BBC's Jonathan Joseph. Oman's foreign minister is in Tehran for talks with his Iranian counterpart as nuclear talks between Iran and world powers continue in Vienna. The Iranian foreign minister welcomed the visiting diplomat upon his arrival. News and analysis at townhall.com. Authorities just might want to consider some kind of sting operation to collar these thieves.
As almond trees start to bloom in California, so do beehive thefts that have become so prevalent that beekeepers are now turning to GPS tracking devices, surveillance cameras, and other anti-theft technology. About 1,000 beehives worth hundreds of thousands of dollars have been reported stolen across California in the past few weeks. Keith Peters reporting.
Elon Musk and his lawyers escalating their fight with U.S. securities regulators. A Musk attorney has accused regulators of leaking investigative information, and Musk is alleging on Twitter that government corruption is being exposed. Musk's tweet early Tuesday and a Monday letter from attorney Alex Shapiro to a federal judge didn't offer any specifics about the alleged leak by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Yet on Wall Street, the Dow's up 25 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and nerdy.
My class there at MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion at D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40 out, just have an Earl Grey tea. My rims never spin, to the contrary. You'll find that they're quite stationary. All of my action figures are cherries. Stephen Hawking's in my library. My MySpace page all totally pimped out. Got people begging for my time.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. The 8 o'clock hour is upon us. And we thank you so much for tuning in. We thank Mr. Parker for coming in. And we're going to pick a time sometime this year and tell Jim Wilburn stories. That'd be fun? Okay. We need to do something like that. Somebody reminded me, this is our 75th year in business. KSVP Radio has been on the air for 75 years in Artesia, New Mexico.
You're implying Jim was here for the first broadcast?
No, Dave Button was. Dave Button was. But Jim Wilburn, he and I did sports together. I moved here in 1991, and so we went everywhere in New Mexico doing basketball and baseball and softball for 25, 26 years or something like that. So
he's a great guy.
He had a lot of stories. He's over in Lubbock now, so I talked to him the other day, and he's doing fine. And I think he wants me to ask him back to do some, like the baseball and softball tournament for Artesia's coming up here in a few weeks. And he, without saying it, I think he was saying, would you please invite me back to come back and do some games? And so we'll probably try to do that because the both tournaments are at the same time.
Right.
Baseball will have 4 games a day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then softball will have 4 games on Friday and 8 games on Saturday. So try to get it all in. So we may do that. Anyway, the mayor is with us, so we'll be talking about city council meeting last night. But first, let's go ahead and get started and take a look at the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind and cool temperatures again today with a cold front moving into eastern New Mexico. We'll be in the mid to upper 40s, wind gusting to 30 miles per hour, but we should have sunshine. Pretty cold for the overnight hours and windy. Our low dropping to about 20 and clear. Then we'll be getting sunshine on Thursday. Afternoon high stays in the mid 50s to around 60. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
It's all good. Matter of fact, Mayor, we were just talking about political stuff.
was it 2020 was the last federal election, and we had the congressional race and the Senate race. Ben Ray Lujan was running for Senate against Ron Ketty, I think it was.
Ron Ketty and Yvette Harold against Soshi Torres Small.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of political advertising that was placed in that cycle, so much so that I jokingly say that we, thanks to Ben Ray Lujan and Soshi Torres Small, we bought a brand new transmitter for one of our radio stations.
That's good.
So, I mean, we were happy, and we put it back into circulation, you know. We didn't keep it or hoard it or anything like that. So, anyway, looking at our weather right now, kind of a chilly start to the day. We're up to 19 degrees under mostly sunny skies. We have winds out of the northeast at 9. Humidity is at 38%. The dew point is -2, so it feels like 9 out there. 30.41 is the barometric pressure, and it's rising. Air quality index is 34. We have good air quality. Sunset will be at 5:49 this afternoon. Sunrise at 6:31 in the morning. Around the region, we've got mostly sunny skies, 21 degrees in Carlsbad, 18 in Roswell, 17 and mostly cloudy in Hobbs. Around the state, Albuquerque, mostly sunny and 19, 17 in Santa Fe, 32 in Cloudcroft and Ruidoso, 47 in Las Cruces, 38 in Farmington, 23 at Red River, 8 in Clovis at this hour, and over in Lubbock, Texas, mostly cloudy and 15. Here in Artesia, mostly sunny skies and 20 degrees in Artesia. Lady Bulldogs won last night. They beat Lovington 59-44, so they advance in the district tournament. Lovington boys beat Portales last night. So Thursday at Goddard at 5:30, our girls take on the Goddard girls, followed at 7 by the Lovington boys against the Goddard boys. And the winners of those games on Thursday, the boys' winner will play in Artesia Friday night, 6 o'clock for the district tournament championship. And the girls' winner will go to Portales at 6 o'clock Friday to play Portales for the girls' district tournament championship. And in the big school district, Roswell High boys and girls went up to Clovis last night, and I was a little shocked. I pulled up my phone, and we actually got permission to video stream out of Clovis last night. I was shocked, to be honest with you. And I pulled up the feed, and it was at halftime at Clovis, and the Goddard girls were winning. They were up by 6 or 7 points, 10 points or so at halftime. And I thought, we got an upset in the making. But it wound up being Clovis girls came back and won that game. And Clovis boys, they were up like 17-1, before the Roswell boys kicked in. And their coach almost got tossed from the game. And a little frustrating. So Clovis boys and girls win. They both go to Carlsbad on Thursday night. And then the winners of those two games Thursday night go to Hobbs, boys and girls, for the championship there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. The mayor's here. We'll talk City Council right after this.
Artesia, if you're ready for a change in leadership on the City Council, Tuesday, March 1st, vote Richard Dickey Townley for City Council District 4.
We must support our first responders, taking action to attract and retain more qualified police and firefighters who will live in and become part of Artesia. Elect me on March 1st, and I will work to make that happen.
This ad paid for by Richard Dickey Townley, candidate for Artesia City Councilor, District 4.
When that problem arises, one call to Crouch Plumbing and Heating is all it takes. Crouch's plumbers and technicians are highly trained. No problem is too big or too small for Crouch. Whether you need a water heater replaced, a gas line run, a leaky faucet repaired, or your heater or AC serviced, Crouch can do it all. Your problem is their problem, till it's no longer a problem. Call on Crouch for timely response, quality workmanship at a fair price. Servicing Carlsbad and Artesia.
When
was the last time a bank asked you about your needs or your goals? When you're a member of Artesia Credit Union, you get to use your money for something more important than fees and finance charges. You get to use your money for you. Membership is open to anyone who calls New Mexico home. Become a member of Artesia Credit Union today and see what your partners can do for you. North 5th Street in Artesia or online at artesiacu.org. Artesia Credit Union, member NCUA.
Guy Chevrolet Company in Artesia is your one-stop for all your automotive needs. From GM certified service and parts, body and paint repairs, to a great lineup of new Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC models, along with our hand-picked selection of new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs, we've got you covered. We invite you to come see us today for excellent customer service and the hassle-free buying experience you deserve. You'll find us right here on the corner of 1st and Main in Artesia, where we've sat proudly for almost 97 years, or at GuyChevy.com.
Austin Industrial is currently seeking a janitorial staff position to work in the Holly Frontier Refinery. You will be responsible for cleaning and sanitizing offices, meeting rooms, bathrooms, kitchen and dining room, and public areas. No minimum education requirements are needed, no experience is required, and pay is $13.50 an hour for this full-time 40-hour-a-week position. Apply at austin-ind.com or call Miss Cookie Look at 832-657-3385. Austin Industrial is an equal employment opportunity employer.
Where can you find the best selection of beautiful and unique home decor in the region? Easy. Casa Decor in Ruidoso. For years, people from all over have come to Casa Decor for the best selection of rustic, real wood furniture, beautiful decor from the Southwest and beyond, and quality outdoor furniture and accessories that are built to last a lifetime. At Casa Decor, they have over 10,000 square feet of showroom for everything you need. Casa Decor opens 7 days a week from 9:30 to 5 at 1214 Meacham Drive in Ruidoso or online at casadecorruidoso.com. Proud supporter of local high school sports.
For real, measurable change, vote Jeff Yahtzee for mayor of Artesia.
Being raised in the city of champions, I am committed to focusing on our grand traditions, values, and the unmatched pride in our city. I have a solid vested interest in Artesia. Like you, my family lives, works, and plays here every day. My grandchildren go to school here. In fact, my reason for running for the office of mayor is to give your family and mine the best possible chance at success and happiness. Vote Tuesday, March 1st for Jeff Yahtzee, mayor of Artesia. Thank you for your support.
I remember to this day the bright red Georgia clay and how it stuck to the tires after the...
Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and it's time for our visit with the mayor. Ray Miller is joining us here today, and we were just talking about video and the Bulldogs and the coverage, and I tell you, Mayor, we had a lot of people watching online when the boys went up to Hagerman and played that tiebreaker game on Monday night, but even though we had a ton of people watching, there were a ton of people in that gym. I think you were there Monday night.
Yeah, I went up for the game, and it was a thing where I was figuring that, we'd be outnumbered by Goddard fans, but they divided the gym in half, and the Artesia stands were packed, which is wonderful. Great to see that support, and the Goddard stands were about 2/3 full, which I love it when we can out-yell the competition, and it felt like a home game in many respects, and the boys played extremely well. It's good to see them hopefully peaking at the right time of the year, and hopefully they'll have success Friday night and on to the state tournament and do well.
Yeah.
Be great.
I got there about 4:15. I was going to meet my other guys because we were going to do the video and radio and everything, and I'm letting Artesia people in the gym because they were already showing up at 4:15 to get in.
Make sure they got good seats.
Make sure. And I said, "No, I'm not the ticket taker, so y'all have to wait for the ticket taker." And they did. They all stood there in the just inside the doorway and waited for the folks to get there with the ticket money. So it was all good, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, I saw at one point there was a timeout, and Coach Mondragon's dad walked down, and I thought, oh, I wonder if he's going to go tell his son something that he's not doing right. But then he walked on by and I think went to the restrooms. I thought, well, that was probably the best thing he could have done.
Well, and the best comment we got, Coach was on yesterday, and Olson Shee who's a big fan, you probably know Olson, he chimed in and he said, "Hey, Coach, don't call a timeout when you're about to win the game."
It's the thing where I'm not going to give coaches advice.
Exactly.
Because hopefully they know a lot more about the sport than I do. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They're doing a great job. City Council meet last night?
Yeah, City Council met last night. It was a fairly light agenda. We had, in fact, the largest part of our agenda was actually executive sessions at the end. And I warned everybody who had come, many of the candidates had come to actually see what is going on in Artesia with the city. We wound up, early on, we had Commander Cajonas gave us an update on some training that he and Sergeant Gallegos had recently attended in Trinidad, and it was a very good school. It dealt with how to disperse information regarding incidents, both not only to the news media but also to social media, to try to combat, many times there's a lot of misinformation that occurs on social media and gets folks, extremely excited, when in reality, if the facts are actually laid out, it's not nearly as significant. I mean, we have that with the city stuff. I'm not on social media, but occasionally folks will show me things that are, quote, posted about what the city's doing, and the facts are just all skewed as to what the reality is. And
well, we're seeing that in Chaves County. They've got a heated race up there, and the sheriff in Chaves County had to come out and say, "Here are the facts." A week before an election.
Yeah.
So
no, it can be challenging, and I'm certainly not a good social media person, not being on it. So, and I tend to not react to social media. If someone tells me I'm doing a bad job, I just take it and go on. I mean, if they offer a suggestion as to what would be a better solution, I'm always interested in hearing better ideas. But many times it's just, we don't like what you're doing, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm still looking for a better idea. So,
yeah, understand.
But anyway, that was a good presentation. He also talked about some of the other training courses that some of the officers have been down to in Houston. And, while it's an expense to go to out-of-town locations and all, if you get some really good training, and particular venues appear to offer repetitively higher quality training type of programs, it's certainly a thing. And I think our police force has one of the most consistent and best training programs to actually keep the officers apprised of how to do their job, as well as to be as professional as they possibly can be. And we have a great force, and I'm very proud of the fact that we have an excellent training program. I don't think many of the other departments have the same type of budget for their officers and stuff, and there's truly benefits. I mean, we've had very little, particularly in the 4 years that I've been mayor, there's been very little question about the conduct of officers and stuff and the way they handled their job. And, I know one case after, the person explained to me the circumstances, and I visited with the city attorney, and I truly believe the officers were well-founded in what they actually did, and sometimes people are just in the wrong, and it's a thing where unfortunately those things don't work out the way they like. But anyway, that was the first item that came up in our stuff. We had a couple of public hearings, but there was nothing exciting about the public hearings. One was a final plat for a subdivision that's out in the county in the extraterrestrial zone around the city, and it had already been not only through staff, P&Z, but it had already been at council when it was initially discussed. We had the public hearing last night. No one spoke in opposition or in favor of it. There was a representative there from the developer, but council approved it 8-0. The second item was a right-of-way being vacated over here near Chaos Cafe. It's a street that was originally a right-of-way was designated across the property, but unfortunately there is a train track with no crossing at that spot, so there's really no need for the city to have a right-of-way through the property. And the folks had requested that we vacate it, and that was in final form there last night, and ordinance was adopted for the vacation of that right-of-way. And again, it was an 8-0. There was no one who spoke in favor or opposition, and it was completely supported by staff, the P&Z, and truly, the P&Z and many of our boards and commissions should be commended because there's a true history of knowledge because of the long length of service that many of the P&Z members have actually had. Most of them are lifelong residents of Artesia, but I suspect the average years of experience on the P&Z board at this point would probably be 10 plus years, and that's even including one of their new members who's a new starter. But there have been some of them that have been there for an awful long time, and it's great to have that knowledge and understanding of all the different things that have come through, so that if you're looking at a similar type of case, you know what was done previously, so that it doesn't make it look like we treat one person one way and another person with a similar thing in a very different way. So, no, it's good to have the continuity and folks who have the interest because they're volunteering their time. They're not paid for those positions, and it's strictly a volunteer deal, and they take their time away from the jobs to actually come in and be a very benefit to the city. Later on, we had a report from each one of our department heads, but none of them actually had specific agenda items. They were, council was able to ask them questions. There were a couple of questions, but they weren't significant questions or answers by any of them. Byron gave us a little bit of update on some of the projects and some of the issues he's had in his department, but I always know when someone calls to complain that usually I can direct them to Byron's administrative assistant because he has the opportunity to have been involved in probably 95% of the issues that folks have, and he's got a lot of things under his area. He does a great job, but I certainly wouldn't want his job given how many different areas and the complexity of those areas and how many staff members or employees he actually has in all of those departments. He has streets and parks, he has sanitation, wastewater, water. All of those areas are all under his areas. So it's got a lot of challenges to it, but he does a great job. And it's a thing where, Gene, in looking at, the things that I've enjoyed as being mayor, it's the opportunity to actually meet and gain a better understanding of our employees and what a good staff that we actually have. It's a thing where in every area, in every department, whether it be the senior center or over at the library or out at solid waste, there are great employees in every area that have worked many years for the city. And I recently did a letter that I tried to send to basically every voter in Artesia. Now, if folks had a P.O. box, I didn't know whether they were in resident, because the list the county gave me was not just voters in the city. It had all of our friends north of the city. It had all of our friends south of the city. It had the Paris and York. It had the Morningside. And so I tried to send it just to registered voters, but basically thanking the folks for allowing me to serve, and also explaining that, you know, our city employees are truly the finest asset that the city has. It's, you know, it's great to have all the equipment, but if you don't have the great people, your assets are really not worth anything. And truly, I do encourage folks, well, not only to vote, which I did in the thing. I didn't give any recommendations. I just recommended they vote, but also to thank our city employees for the good job that they actually do, because in many cases, they're pretty much faceless, and, you know, folks don't realize until there's a problem how critical many of those services that they perform really are. It is a thing where, in talking about voting, I had a couple of people ask me yesterday about was early voting still going on? And it is. It's available at City Hall every day this week, and also on Saturday. I believe City Hall will be open from 8 to 6, and our city clerk will actually be there so that people can vote on Saturday all day, because, you know, obviously the election is next Tuesday. But, you know, if you wait till the last minute, it can be a thing where if you get busy or, you know, something comes up, then your vote may not be counted. So, I mean, I've already voted, you know, of course, my council district is now Raul's district, so there wasn't a lot of competition there. But anyway, I did assure Raul at the council meeting previously that he was elected, because all he needed was one vote, so I knew he had actually gotten that. So, and it's been surprising. Raul's actually done a campaign as if he had competition. I mean, I've seen his signs up around the neighborhood. My wife told me that he had a ad in the local newspaper, and
he's on the radio too.
He's on the radio. That's great. And I'm like, you know, I'm not sure why, but, you know, because obviously when I signed up as mayor, there was no opposition and no write-in opposition, and so all I needed was one vote, and so I didn't see any need to actually mount a campaign if there's no opposition to the election. But anyway.
Well, and he told me too that, and he probably told you the same thing, that because of the realignment of the districts, there's a lot of folks in his district that weren't in his district before, and so he's just trying to let everybody, the new ones and the ones that he still has, hey, I'm your city councilor. So.
Yeah. No, and Raul's done a really good job. I mean, he's been there and has experience, and, you know, we certainly will have some new folks, you know, after this election. Obviously, Kent Bratcher elected to run for mayor, and so there'll be a new councilor for his district. Terry Hill elected to run for mayor, and so there'll be a new councilor from his district, either Aubrey Hobson or Dickie Townley. You know, and so there will be some new faces in council.
Which district was Kent in? He was in...
Kent was the Wade Nelson, Melanie, and Harry district, I believe.
Kimberly Medley, Tommy
Kimberly.
Bales, and Wade Nelson?
Yeah.
Okay, that's District 3.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, you can tell I'm real familiar with those since they're not in my district.
Well, you know, the thing is, I think a lot of people are like that. They just, like you said, unless something comes up that's a problem, you tend to not worry about it too much.
Well, and those folks would have previously been in my district. And so I would have been trying to figure out which one of those three I saw as the best candidate to vote for. Well, since I'm not in that district, now it's been interesting. Several of their signs have appeared in yards, but I suspect it's because folks thought they were still in that district, and, you know, we're supporting one of them. Well, we're out of the district at this point. So,
and I've seen a lot more of that. Maybe you have too. That it used to be you were pretty certain that if you saw a yard sign for a candidate, like a council candidate, that it was in that district.
Yeah.
But you have people that have friends, and they're just saying, "Hey, I'm supporting." These candidates.
Well, that's true, and there is something to targeted placing of actually putting them like in yards adjacent to the schools and stuff where people are picking up their kids because, folks don't always have their kids in the district they live in. They have a particular preference for a school because of relatives or something's kids that are also going there and stuff. And so, it's not bad to have some of that. And in areas of high traffic, it gives you a little more name recognition where folks start asking questions. But I tend to be like many voters. If it's not my district, I tend to not worry about it. Once I figured out Raul was my counselor and there was no opposition, there was no reason to start
doing any investigating. Well, and radio's kind of like that too, because we have candidates for council that are advertising, but the radio goes everywhere. So.
But it's a thing where it gives them a broad reach, and they're just trying to get folks to start asking questions.
Right.
Who is this person? What do you know about them? And in Artesia, a lot of folks talk to their neighbors and folks that they rely on. I've had folks ask me what I thought about the mayor's race, and I give them my perspective on all 5 candidates. Obviously I have one that I think would be the best, but, that may not be who they think is the best, but at least I can give them some of the insight as to the ups and downs, positives and negatives of every one of the candidates. Of course, sometimes I'm not sure they want as much dissertation as I give them. So.
Is your endorsement valuable or not?
And they may have wished they hadn't asked by the time I get through with kind of my rendition of all 5. So,
well, it is an interesting time, and you're kind of in an interesting position because you are the mayor, and you're not running for re-election. There's 5 people, 4 of which are either on the council or have been on the council that you've worked with as counselors. So.
Well, and truly, years ago, I was on council, and I had a person call and talk to me because they were thinking about running for mayor at that time against Mayor Birch. And I asked them, I says, well, have you ever been on council? And they said no. And I says, well, it's up to you. But I says, if I was you, I'd really consider running for council rather than running for mayor, because I think you need the experience on council to kind of get a feel for all of the departments, everything that's going on, and have some background before you become mayor. And it wound up being a thing where we talked on, and at one point I says, well, are you considering running for council? And their comment was, well, I work full time. I don't know if I have time to be a counselor. And I'm thinking, well, if you don't have time to be a counselor, you really don't have time to be a mayor, because the mayor's job, even though it's identified as a part-time job, entails a lot more work than what the council does, and it's simply because we don't have a city manager or assistant city manager. But as I've stated to folks who have asked me, I went my first meeting with some of the Southeast New Mexico region elected officials up in Ruidoso. I was sitting there, and at the table next to me, I saw the title, and it was the Assistant City Manager of Ruidoso. And I'm thinking, well, Ruidoso is a smaller community than Artesia, and if they have an Assistant City Manager, they must have a City Manager. And I'm thinking, well, the Ruidoso Mayor's job is probably a lot simpler than the Artesia Mayor's job. And, why, as small as they are, can they have a City Manager and we don't? And I spent part of the meeting thinking about it, and then I spent the 2 hours driving home thinking about it. And by the time I got to Artesia, I had recognized that it would probably cost the city of Artesia $250,000 of taxpayer dollars a year for the salary and benefits associated with those two positions, where if we didn't have them, that allowed the tax dollars to be spent on other programs and stuff to benefit the city rather than on administrative positions. And, thankfully we have great department heads that I've worked with, Chief Roberts, Chief Hope, folks like Byron Landfair, that they know their jobs well. They try to address each of the problems in their area and do a really good job. And as a result, there are things that I get involved in, and if they have questions, they certainly raise them. But it's a thing where if you have good folks working for you, you don't need the layer of administration that actually tends to just make your job easier. But, we didn't sign up for an easy job. Everybody who signs up, I knew that there wasn't a city manager when I signed up. So, it's a thing where it's better for the citizens to have their tax dollars not just going to positions, but actually going to projects or additional payroll in areas where we need it. I know the library is asking for replacement of one of the staff positions that was frozen, and we'd like to get them back to full service. They indicate they need it, and I know the Budget and Finance Committee is looking at that request to actually consider making a recommendation to council to unfreeze the position and put it out for hiring. But those are the types of places that, it's a lot better to spend your money there than on administrative overhead positions. You get some of these large corporations and and you get inside of government. I mean, I was highly critical of the Bureau of Land Management. They had a state archaeologist working at the state BLM office, and Carlsbad field office was short archaeologists, and to the point where they couldn't process their applications to drill years ago. And I went up and happened to be visiting with the state archaeologist, and I offended him by suggesting that he get him a travel trailer and come live in Carlsbad for a period of time, since it was part of his job is to actually fill the vacancies. But, I honestly believe that as a state archaeologist, he spent most of his days sending emails to other state BLM archaeologists asking them what they were doing. And in all of the years that I worked in the oil field, there was only one positive project that ever came out of the state archaeologist office. And outside of that, if it hadn't been for that, I would have had no use for the position at all.
Wow.
But, anyway,
I need to take a break.
Sure.
Stick around a little bit here. We've got a couple more minutes with the mayor. Ray Miller is with us on Good Morning Artesia. We'll be back right after this.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Zarello. The Biden administration now delaying decisions on new oil and gas drilling on federal land and other energy-related actions after a federal court blocked the way officials were calculating the real-world costs of climate change. The administration says in a legal filing last week, the ruling by a Louisiana federal judge would affect dozens of rules by at least 4 federal agencies. Among the immediate effects, an indefinite delay in planned oil and gas lease sales on public lands in a half-dozen states, including New Mexico. Lots of allegations regarding a candidate running for Roswell mayor. Chavez County Sheriff Mike Harrington released a video Tuesday on social media disputing claims that he says are circulating in the community that Tim Jennings was treated favorably after a possible DWI incident in early 2019. Harrington said, based on the facts of the case, the sheriff's department has no proof that Jennings was driving drunk the night that he crashed his truck 2 years ago. You can see the video posted to the Chavez County Sheriff's Facebook page. Harrington went on to say that he is not endorsing any candidate for Roswell mayor. You're up to date. I'm Jared Zarello.
Need to ship a package? Choose UPS. Need to ship a package UPS from Artesia? Bring your package to Brown Drug. Brown Drug wants to be your UPS shipping center in Artesia. Use Brown Drug as your UPS shipping center and we'll reward you by shipping your 11th package 5 pounds or less for free. If you want to make sure your package arrives on time, use UPS. The easy and convenient place to ship UPS in Artesia is Brown Drug at the corner of 4th and Washington.
Hey, New Mexico. Experiencing issues keeping your office technology up to date with these crazy supply chain issues? Well, DSI is here to help. We've diversified our products and solutions to help your business not just survive, but thrive in any situation. Have your teams collaborate and share with high-def video walls and interactive smart panels. With free unlimited support, the fear of any new technology is a thing of the past. Contact DSI today to upgrade your workspace. www.dsinm.com.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. Tell you what, the Lovington Wildcats girls basketball team had no answer last night for Lauren Wagner of the Artesia Bulldogs. Artesia played Lovington in the district basketball tournament, and Artesia wins 59-44. Lauren Wagner scores 30 points for the Lady Dogs. Addie Harrison added 12, and Artesia moves on. They will be playing at Goddard tomorrow in the next round of the district tournament. Chance to redeem themselves after losing to Goddard recently and giving up that second place position in the district standings. Also, last night it was the end of the season for the Loving Falcons boys basketball team. They lost to Eunice 71-32. The girls from Loving saw their season end Monday night, 53-50 against Hagerman. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio, AM 990.
Texas Tech rolled Oklahoma last night at the USA. Head coach Mark Adams tells us where they can improve a little bit on offense next on the Red Raider Daily Update.
From diagnosis through treatment, make Caprock Cardiovascular Center your one stop for cardiac, peripheral, and vascular care. Caprock Cardio is proud to offer Lubbock's first and only full-service cardiology clinic and cath lab, now serving the entire South Plains and eastern New Mexico regions from convenient, state-of-the-art facilities. Caprock Cardio wants to be your complete heart health provider. Caprock Cardiovascular Center and Cath Lab is a proud corporate partner of Texas Tech Athletics and the American Heart Association. Our town, our team.
Red Raider fans, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants you to throw out the first pitch at an upcoming Texas Tech baseball home game. Register to win at RedRaidersContest.com. Opportunities to throw out the first pitch are March 30th versus Stephen F. Austin, April 9th versus Kansas State, and May 20th versus Oklahoma. Winner will receive 2 game tickets, a pregame field experience, and throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Enter to win by visiting RedRaidersContest.com and be a VIP thanks to Texas Farm Bureau Insurance.
Last night, the Red Raiders smashed Oklahoma 66-42 to move to 22-6 and 11-4 in Big 12 play. Head coach Mark Adams on where he thinks they can get a little bit better offensively.
We see a decent shot or an opening that we think's okay, and then we'll take that instead of, moving the ball one more pass and getting the ball side to side, and we can get a great shot. And, that was what was frustrating because we were trying to get them to move the ball the first half, and they were getting decent looks, but we wanted better looks, and we got that second half. I thought that was different. We started moving the ball, and guys responded and they just made easy passes and let the ball come to them, and that's the way the game should be played.
Red Raider baseball won its home opener yesterday at Rip Griffin Park, knocking off Dallas Baptist 8-4. Brendan Gurton got the win. The Red Raiders are 2-2. They'll host Kent State coming up this Friday at 2 o'clock.
Year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found the key for every door.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia. Mayor Ray Miller is with us. And Mayor, I was going to ask you a question totally off topic. They have nothing to do with city council, but you're in the oil and gas business.
Right.
And I guess there's some issues with the government and leases and whether or not they have to be considered, economic impact of environmental stuff and things like that. What's happening in all that area there? Do you have any insight on that?
Well, my insight is probably too simplistic, but during the Obama administration, they basically put the coal industry out of business, and I'm not sure that the Biden administration agenda is not to put oil and gas out of business. And if you look at some of the bills that were actually considered in our legislative session in Santa Fe, the progressives and obviously the Democratic Party is in the majority, and a lot of them have some very progressive liberal positions. Had some of those items passed, it would have been, a death nail into our business. And to me, Gene, I am dismayed to a degree simply because I believe that our country will need oil and gas for years to come, no matter how quickly we try to transition away from fossil fuels. But if we basically kill our domestic industry, then the needs for it that we have will be importing from places like Nigeria and Venezuela. And I'm sure that they have great environmental programs in each one of those countries associated with their oil and gas.
I hear the sarcasm. Well, but you're right. You're
it winds
exactly
up
right.
being a thing where every barrel that gets imported into the United States has more emissions associated with it than a barrel produced here.
Oh, yeah.
So you would actually think if the goal of the environmental community was to actually reduce emissions, that as long as we have to have a barrel, they would want it produced in the domestic market under regulatory regime that reduces as much emissions. And I mean, the major companies, well, in fact, every company in southeast New Mexico is working to try to reduce as much of the emissions associated with production as they can. And I mean, what the industry does today versus what we did when I started in 1980 or 1990 or the year 2000 or the year 2010, every year or every 10 years, if you look back, you can see a transition from a less environmental problems to where we are today, and a result in, the focus by every company at this point is to how to reduce their emissions even more. Well, I don't believe that Nigeria, Venezuela, and many places that produce oil and gas,
Russia for that matter,
and Russia have those same environmental agendas. And to a degree, you look, my understanding is at this point the need for electricity in China, they've demanded or fired up more of their coal-fired power plants, because of the need for industry and electricity demand than, what they could do with their new renewables and stuff. And as a result, I love folks, hearts for thinking that, that this is a plan that we have to do. Sometimes, though, I become a little bit of a skeptic because I recognize that sometimes you can have volcanic eruptions that actually spew more gases into the atmosphere than what all of industry or humankind is doing, in man-made.
The volcano is now, and you compare it to the history of the Industrial Revolution.
I mean, we've had ice ages come and go over this planet, and we weren't burning fossil fuels during them before or after. And, so there are some things that are not man-controlled, and yet our focus today is on everything being looked at strictly as that,
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't...
But wasn't there a lawsuit or something that a judge in Louisiana put on hold, and so the leases on the federal lands is kind of in the air right now until that all works its way?
Yeah, and it winds up being a thing where we're fortunate in southeast New Mexico that most of the lands that are seen as productive at this point are already under lease and available for development.
Okay.
But the speed at which BLM process permits, the regulations that come from OCD and the Environment Department in Santa Fe, and then the enforcement of those. I know my wife was reading a couple of the fines that were issued yesterday and publicized in the Albuquerque Journal, and I think XTO was fined $2 million for violations. Well, it makes great press. But at the same time, it also tells, ExxonMobil, which is the parent of XTO, that, is New Mexico the place that we want to be investing new capital dollars? And it's a thing where, our state had great surpluses this year, and a good portion of those surpluses is directly related to the economic activity, the new developments that have been occurring in the South Eddy, South Lee part of the Permian Basin, and there is great potential in those areas for a lot of future development for years to come that would be highly economic. And at these price levels, they're just unbelievably economic. I mean, I was looking at a well that EOG drilled the other day, and its first 2 months of production would have paid for the $8 to $9 million of drilling and development costs that they actually had. Now, every well isn't that successful,
right?
But you sit there and go, well, that's a huge, financial return that then they have, years of production after that will basically help cover their overhead and cover, failures that they may have and the success of other wells. But there is a huge opportunity at this point to see great benefits. Years ago, Senator Eddie Lopez was one of the strongest supporters of oil and gas, and he was a senator from Santa Fe. And I finally, at the end of one of the legislative sessions in the early 80s, I asked the NMOGA lobbyist, I says, well, why does Senator Lopez actually support oil and gas? Does he have an interest in southeast New Mexico or northwest New Mexico where he has a tie to it? And he says no, because at that time Max Call was also a representative from Santa Fe.
I remember
but
that
his
name.
family had interest in southeast New Mexico, which afforded him the ability to be almost a freewheeling hippie Santa Fe resident, but comfortable living from the southeast oil patch. And the answer from the lobbyist was no. Senator Lopez has been around the legislature long enough, served on Senate Finance, and he recognizes that the better that the oil and gas industry does, the less every taxpayer in his district pays less in taxes and receives more in services from the state of New Mexico because of a healthy oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And it's a simple message. Over 30% of the state's revenue and budget comes directly from southeast New Mexico and northwest New Mexico. And at this price level in the southeast, we're making a huge contribution into the state budget, but the state seems bent on wanting to actually put us out of business to where we afford the opportunity for the state to use higher emission fuels.
I know.
And all of our stuff, and to wind up having to, it's like at this point, the refinery is a large user of the water in the city. Well, if the refinery didn't buy city water, we'd basically have to double everybody's water bill to have the same revenue stream to pay for the city infrastructure to actually operate that utility. And as a result, I really appreciate Navajo.
Sure. And I think most people do. At least I hope most people do. I think the other thing that's going to be interesting is that apparently the Speaker of the House, Brian Egoff, announced that he wasn't going to run for re-election. And so that's a pretty important leadership position in the legislature in New Mexico. It'll be interesting to see.
Hugely important, and I was very surprised at his decision. last thing from the council last night, we had some executive sessions, but largely the results of those was not, it was primarily giving the council information regarding real estate issues. We had 3 different ones: a potential lease, a trespass issue, and also a possible sale of some city-owned property. But there was no decisions made at those, and no formal actions taken by the council except to direct staff to continue working on each one of the 3 projects. There was also personnel, but there was no action at the personnel executive. In our discussion afterwards, it was a thing where I mentioned sending out the letters to all the voters. I failed. Commissioner Henry was there earlier, but he didn't stay for the long executive session, which I don't blame him. Most of the folks left. But I should have mentioned earlier that one of the things that the commission might want to look at is our voter list, because it winds up being a thing where I think years ago, if you didn't vote in 3 elections, they took you off the voter registration. Well, at this point, there were folks who left that my kids knew, friends that left our community 20 years ago, who are still listed.
They're still listed. Oh, no.
So, we could have stuffed the ballot box this year if we'd have just sent all of our friends who now don't live here absentee ballots.
And it would have been allowed because they're on the roll.
They're on the roll.
Well, Mayor, as always, we thank you so much for taking time and being with us to talk about it. And
encourage everybody to go vote. Early voting's still open. It is open 8 to 6 on Saturday even this week, and every day this week at City Hall. And obviously the election is next Tuesday. If you didn't vote early, make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday and ask the candidates what they're for, make an informed decision, and go vote.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. And we're going to go to the news. This is KSVP Artesia.
News along the Ukraine frontier, and Vladimir Putin's forces have occupied a couple of regions of Ukraine that the Russian leader views as independent republics. Correspondent Mike Rossi.
Russian forces have moved into rebel-held areas in eastern Ukraine after Putin said he was recognizing the independence of the separatist regions. Led by the United States, Western powers drew the proverbial line in the sand, with President Biden announcing
the first tranche of sanctions to impose cost on Russia.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken canceled talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov that would have been held in Geneva later this week. Ominously, Russian lawmakers have authorized Putin to use military force outside Russian borders.
A number of U.S. allies hitting Russia with sanctions. Same time, though, correspondent Charles De Ledesma says that Beijing's ties with Moscow are strengthening.
Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying says China is opposed to new unilateral sanctions imposed on Russia, reiterating a long-standing Chinese position.
A biting Republican response to the Biden moves against Russia. Senator Lindsey Graham tweets the sanctions outlined are woefully inadequate to deter Putin's efforts to redraw the European map and dismember a neighboring democracy. Nearly 2 years after the botched police raid that killed Breonna Taylor in Louisville, the only officer facing criminal charges now standing trial, a now former officer charged with wanton endangerment. The Philadelphia Police Union filing suit against the city law. It bans officers from pulling over drivers for low-level offenses, saying the law illegally preempts existing state laws on traffic violations. Watching Wall Street, stocks have slipped into the red. The Dow down 65 points, NASDAQ off 87, the S&P 16 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout.
That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
Massachusetts Subaru dealers selling the automaker's 2022 models -1 high-tech feature.
That's in-car wireless technology that connects drivers to music, navigation, roadside assistance, and crash-avoiding sensors. Subaru and Kia have disabled their telematics systems rather than run afoul of a voter-backed law to give independent mechanics more access to a car's repair data. It mirrors a broader battle over who has the right to repair increasingly complex electronic products, from iPhones to tractors.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Tonga back online. Its main internet connection to the rest of the world finally restored more than 5 weeks after a huge volcanic eruption and tsunami severed a crucial undersea cable. 3 people in Tonga were killed by the January 15th tsunami. Dozens of homes destroyed. Drinking water tainted. Townhall.com. The National Basketball Association marking its 75th season. Some of the league's past stars amazed at its evolution.
The NBA's first MVP, Milwaukee St. Louis Hawks star Bob Pettit, played 11 seasons. At age 89, he's still a big NBA fan and thinks the league has a bright future.
The players are going to be better. There are going to be more of them. They're going to jump higher. They're going to drill three-point. As good as they are today, they'll be even better.
But former ABA and NBA star Rick Barry, who admits being a basketball purist, wishes refs would enforce the rules strictly.
It's an incredible game. The athletes are incredible. What they can do is incredible. But they're getting away with murder. And I blame the officials.
Barry also says he'd be a better player with today's coaching and training. I'm Norman Hall.
The Dow down 75 points, NASDAQ off 93. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters. But so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really white and nerdy.
My class there at MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion of D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40 out, just have an Earl Grey tea. My rims never spin. To the contrary, you'll find that they're quite stationary. All of my action figures.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Busy time as we're trying to get through everything that's going on, and we appreciate you being with us today to chit-chat about the news of the day and other stuff that's going on. Coming up later this hour, we'll have our Central Valley Electric Cooperative update. Aaron Irving will be joining us for a look at how the markets are reacting to the news of the day and all that good stuff that's going on. A couple things we want to kind of talk about here in this segment. Coach Mondragon was with us on Tuesday, and he talked about how the NMAA was considering the possibility of making a modification to the state basketball tournament to go back to how the tournament had been scheduled pre-COVID, which was first round games at the higher seed, and then the winners all converge in Albuquerque for the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Then with COVID, you got to remember, COVID hit as the NMAA was doing the state basketball tournament in 2020, and they were able to get the tournament done. Then in 2021, which we didn't have a state basketball tournament, and then we had one in the spring of this year as athletics were finally allowed to start for the 2021-2022 school year in the spring of 2021, or spring of 2021. So we did have a little bit of a basketball tournament there. The Bulldogs were in it. Got all the way to the championship game. I remember. I was there. And then this year, we're kind of more on a normal schedule. So they've gone back to 16 teams. But they have the first round next weekend. And then the quarterfinals will continue to be at the higher seed host school. We got a press release here from the NMAA, and the brackets will be released on Sunday at approximately 5 p.m. on the NMAA's website. And then they'll be available on Max Preps after they get them published and announced. So the first round and quarterfinals will be at the host school site's higher seed. The semifinals and finals will be and this is for all the classes, UNM The Pit, Rio Rancho Event Center, and Bernalillo High School. So that's where the different, the lower classes will be at Bernalillo High School and Rio Rancho, and the 4A and the 5A stuff will be at the Pit. So on Friday, March 4th, will be the will be the Class 5A girls first round of 16 at the higher seed, and the Class A through 5A boys first round of 16 at higher seed will be on Saturday, March 5th. So all classes, the girls' first round games will be on Friday, and the boys' first round games will be on Saturday at the higher seed. That's on March 4th and 5th. The quarterfinals, the girls' quarterfinal games will be at the higher seed on Tuesday, March 8th, and the boys' quarterfinal games will be on Wednesday, March 9th at the higher seed. Then the semifinals for Class A, boys and girls, will be Friday, March 11th at Bernalillo. The 2A and 3A semifinals, boys and girls, will be on Friday at the Rio Rancho Event Center. Used to be the Santa Ana Star Center, but it's the Rio Rancho Event Center. And then the 4A and 5A boys and girls semifinals will be on Thursday, March 10 at the Pit. The finals, Class A boys and girls, Saturday, March 12th. Class 2A boys and girls finals, Saturday, March 12th. Class 3A girls will be Friday, March 11th. 3A boys will be Saturday, March 12th. 4A girls, Friday, March 11th. 4A boys, Saturday, March 12th. 5A girls, Friday, March 11th. And 5A boys, Saturday, March 12th. And all the finals will be, it looks to me, it doesn't say specifically, but I'm going to say that all the finals will be at the Pit. Now, the other thing that you need to know, for the state tournament, single-day tickets can be purchased via GoFan or UNM and do not allow for re-entry purposes. And you can buy some tournament passes. But these are for the Albuquerque events. I'm not sure if they're going to extend this GoFan ticket purchase to the quarterfinals or the first rounds. I'll ask Dusty. I'll send out a note to Dusty and ask him if that's how they're going to require the tickets for that. Because they did for football, you remember? For the state volleyball tournament and for the football tournament, all playoff games in the state tournament for volleyball and football had to be through the GoFan.co app. And that included the volleyball game with St. Pius that was played here. That included the football games that were played here before the Bulldogs went on to play Los Lunas in the state championship in Los Lunas. And those games, tickets had to be purchased that way. So we'll get some clarification here from
from the NMAA on the round of 16 and the quarterfinal rounds, if those tickets have to be purchased through the online platform or if they can be done deal. Here's something else that's in the press release. Face coverings may be worn but are not required. Social distancing should be maintained to the greatest extent possible while covering the event and or conducting interviews. This is for the media. Entrance is not dependent on vaccination status COVID testing. So that's for the media. I'm not sure what the requirements are for the public, but at least for the media, they are masks are not required, and you don't have to show proof of vaccination to cover the basketball game. So that's good to know. But what happened last night, Lady Bulldogs beat the Lovington Lady Wildcats 59-44, and that earned the Lady Bulldogs a trip to the semifinal round of the district basketball tournament. Now, the Portales Lady Rams are the District 4A regular season champions, and have their ticket punched to go to the state tournament. Where they are seated has not yet been determined. That'll be determined this weekend, and they can certainly solidify their position in the seeding with a win of the District 4A basketball tournament, which they will host a game on Friday night at 6 o'clock for that privilege. Artesia won the first game that they played in the district tournament. They finished as the 3 seed in the district tournament, and they will now travel to Goddard and play the Goddard Lady Rockets on Thursday at 5:30 at Goddard High School. So Thursday at 5:30 is the semifinal game of the District 4A basketball tournament. The winner of that game will then get to go to Portales to play the Lady Rams on Friday night. Now, let's see, if they updated, when did they update these? They updated these yesterday. So these are the updated girls 4A basketball rankings. Gallup on the Max Preps right now is number 1, 22-3 overall. Kirtland Central is number 2. Bernalillo is number 3. And Portales is still at number 4. So they've been number 4 for a while, and they continue to be at number 4. They're 19-5 overall, and they are the number 4 team in girls basketball in 4A. Highland out of Albuquerque is number 5. Moriarty is number 6. Taos is number 7. Valencia out of Los Lunas is number 8. And Goddard Lady Rockets have moved up to number 9 in the state of New Mexico. So we have the number 4 team and the number 9 team in the state of New Mexico in our district in Portales and Goddard. So Artesia to pull off the upset tomorrow night would be huge because they would have won a game over a higher seeded top 10 ranked team, according to the Max Preps, in Goddard. Hope Christian comes in at number 10, Espanola Valley at 11, St. Pius the 10th at 12, Los Alamos at 13, Mayamera out of Gallup is 14, Valley out of Albuquerque is 15, and Bloomfield is the number 16 team. So if the brackets were released today based on the Max Preps rankings, Artesia is 19. So they're going to need to win in Goddard, at Goddard tomorrow, and then beat Portales on Friday. If they do that, then they would most likely be invited to the state basketball tournament. But as it is right now, at 11-14, they're 19, 19th in the Max Preps rankings, which is outside the 16. So they're going to have to get it done. What's interesting is Valley is 9-15, and they're at 15. Their strength of schedule is 7.2. Artesia at 11-14, and that may have been as of the 22nd, so they're probably 12-14 now with the win last night. But their strength of schedule is 4.2, so they have a lower strength of schedule, which in the Max Preps bumps them down below the number 16, and Valley gets in at a 9-15 record because of a stronger strength of schedule. So that's what's happening with the girls basketball. The Lady Bulldogs won last night. They play at Goddard Thursday at 5:30, which is the 9th-ranked team in the state of New Mexico. And then should they win that game, when they win that game, they will go to Portales on Friday night at 6 o'clock to take on the 4th-ranked team in the state of New Mexico in the Portales Rams. So that's what's happening on the girls' side. Now, on the boys' side, the Bulldogs, by virtue of the tiebreaker win on Monday night at Hagerman, are the District 4 4A champions and host the championship game of the district basketball tournament. So Lovington became the third-ranked team. They hosted Portales last night and beat Portales. So Lovington now heads to Goddard and will play the Goddard Rockets tomorrow at 7. And the winner of that game gets to come to Artesia, and that will be on Friday night at 6 o'clock at the Bulldog Pit. Looking at the rankings in 4A, and again, these were updated yesterday. Highland is the number 1 team in 4A. Taos at number 2, Espanola Valley 3, St. Pius X 4, Silver 5, Albuquerque Academy is 6, Hope Christian is 7. Lovington, even though Lovington finished in a 3-way tie for the district title, and because of the tiebreaker got seeded 3rd in the district basketball tournament, they continue to be in the top 10. They're ranked at number 8. And because the regular season district finished in a 3-way tie, all 3 of those teams can be considered as a district champion when the NMAA gathers in conclave on Sunday to seed the bracket. So Lovington, 8th-ranked team in the state, 18-7 overall, 3.6 strength of schedule, 3-way tie for the district. And they're trying to work their way through the district tournament to win the district tournament to see if they can solidify being a district champ and a top 8 seed when the bracket comes out on Sunday. So it's a big game, Lovington and Goddard tomorrow at Ground Zero. Valley is number 9, Belen number 10, Del Norte is 11, Los Alamos at 12, and then here's the Artesia Bulldogs. They are number 13 in the state, so they've moved up above Goddard. 15-11 overall, 6.3 strength of schedule. Bernalillo is at 14. Goddard still in the top 16 at number 15, 15-12 overall, 4.3 strength of schedule. And then Gallup winds up the number 16 seeded team. Now, Portales at 18 with the loss at Lovington last night. They did not win the district. They were the 4th seed, number 4 in the district, and they did not advance through the district tournament. So I don't see Portales making it into the state tournament, but they could. You never know. But at 18, they're 2 outside the top 16 according to the Max Prep. So Goddard is at 15, Artesia at 13, and Lovington still ranked in the top 10 at number 8 according to the Max Prep's computer ranking people. And so it's a big game tomorrow night at Goddard, and we will be covering it. We'll be covering both games tomorrow. Joby and Robbie will be at Ground Zero. We'll have the girls' game at 5:30 on KSVP right here on the radio, 990 AM, 93.7 FM. And KSVPTV.com. We will have 2 versions of the broadcast for you again. So we will have the Artesia announcers version on the Artesia channel. We'll have the Goddard announcers version on the Goddard channel on Thursday. And then don't leave KSVP TV, because immediately following the girls' game, we'll have the Goddard boys' game with Lovington. And again, the Chris's, Coach White and Coach Deck, will be announcing that on the Goddard channel on KSVPTV.com. So that'll be on Thursday. If you want to go to Roswell, want to go to Ground Zero, and I'm sure after the girls' game, if you're an Artesia fan, they'll probably ask you to make room for the Lovington fans that make their way over to Goddard on Thursday night. Then on Friday, the winner of the Goddard Artesia girls game will go to Portales, and we're going to cover it either way because it's both teams that we cover. So if it's Artesia, we'll have Artesia announcers, and we'll have the video on our page. If it's Goddard, we'll have the Goddard announcer and the video on our page. For the boys, the Artesia Bulldogs will be hosting the championship. So whether it's Goddard or Lovington, the game will be here in Artesia at the Bulldog Pit, 6 o'clock Friday night. And we will have, if the girls are not playing Friday, we will have radio and TV coverage Friday night. If the girls are playing Friday, then the girls' game will be on the radio, and the boys' game will be TV only, since they're both going to be at the exact same time. So that's how we're going to do that. The out-of-town game will get the radio if it's Artesia girls at Portales. If it's Goddard at Portales and Artesia girls are done, then the boys' game will be on the radio Friday night at 6 o'clock. But both games, should there be two games on Friday, will be on the KSVP TV channel. And then we'll sit back and wait and see. The round of 16, as we said, will be on Friday the 4th and Saturday the 5th. The girls would be on Friday the 4th. The boys would be on Saturday the 5th at the higher seed. And if Artesia boys get in it and get a top 8 seed, then we'll have radio and TV coverage from the pit here in Artesia. If they're not a top 8 seed, it just depends on where they go and whether or not we get permission to do video. We'll do radio, but we don't know if we'll have permission to do video. The other thing that's going to be fun next week, the 4th and 5th, is the baseball team gets started their baseball season next weekend. They will be in Hobbs in a Hobbs round robin tournament. They'll play 3 games in Hobbs, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And one of the games on the main field, 2 of the games will be on the JV field. And so we're going to try to cover those games to make sure we get those on the radio and on the TV as well from Hobbs America next weekend. So hopefully we will have baseball on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll have girls basketball on Friday, boys basketball on Saturday, and we're going to try to get it all covered and all out there to you for those that can't make it in person. All right, let's take the break, open up the Zoom room, and when we come back, we're going to get Aaron on here and see what's on his mind today, and we'll be back right after this. Please pardon our dust as we move into our new facility at Artesia Animal Clinic. We've begun the process of moving into our new facility, which features more exam rooms, expanded surgery and treatment rooms, lab, x-ray, and larger kennels. We're so excited to be moving into our new facility, and we look forward to being better able to help care for your pets. Artesia Animal Clinic, now moving into our new clinic in the same location, 110 West Mahone, just north of Artesia Ford Sales. For real, measurable change, vote Jeff Yahtzee for mayor of Artesia.
Being raised in the city of champions, I am committed to focusing on our grand traditions, values, and the unmatched pride in our city. I have a solid vested interest in Artesia. Like you, my family lives, works, and plays here every day. My grandchildren go to school here. In fact, my reason for running for the office of mayor is to give your family and mine the best possible chance at success and happiness. Vote Tuesday, March 1st for Jeff Yahtzee, mayor of Artesia. Thank you for your support.
Today's FFA members are the innovators and leaders of tomorrow. They believe in a strong nation and a sustainable world. Through agriculture and hands-on learning, they're preparing for unique career opportunities in the food, fiber, and natural resources industries. FFA members are making a difference every day. Celebrate National FFA Week, February 21st. This salute to agriculture and the FFA is brought to you by the Chaos Cafe.
Have you been dealing with stress or anxiety lately? Don't let that stop you from getting the dental work done that you know needs to happen. Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher with Carabelli Dental, and every day we help people just like you have a relaxing and pain-free experience with IV sedation. Just imagine a dental experience where you don't remember the needles or the drills. If that's what you're looking for, we can help. Let us ease your stress and create the best dental experience ever.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main or call 622-4455.
When you run a small business, your hands are full. PVT can help. PVT Business Solutions partners with local companies to provide high-speed internet, managed Wi-Fi, business phone systems, security, surveillance, and automation systems, and more. PVT helps your business stay connected with your customers. PVT Business Solutions gives you the tools not only to keep pace, but to grow and become more efficient. Find out how connecting with PVT can help your business grow by calling 575-748-1241 or visiting pvt.com.
Tuesday, March 1st, vote Richard Dickey Townley for City Council District 4.
I love Artesia. Thanks to the generosity of our businesses and foundations, we have an amazing Main Street, a beautiful library, performing arts center, aquatic center, and amazing sport complexes. There is so much more we can do if we actively welcome and support more partnerships. Elect me on March 1st, and I will work to keep the Artesia City pride alive.
This ad paid for by Richard Dickey Townley, candidate for Artesia City Councilor, District 4. Hey, we're back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and Aaron Irving with his tribute to Vladimir Putin. Although you have a stand with the people of Ukraine video there. So
at the end of it, yeah.
Looks very nice. It's yeah, it's a weird situation there because, you know, there's a long history with the paranoid communists.
Yes.
There and in the West, and I mean, Stalin got to experience personally. I don't mean personally, but I mean the Russian people experienced an invasion from the West.
Stalin personally.
Well, the Russian people experienced Stalin, that's for sure. Yeah, they got brutal, murdering dictator.
Yeah.
But then their paranoia wasn't helped when Hitler, you know, because Hitler was paranoid. He was scared to death of the Russians. You know,
well, and Hitler was one of the few people that Stalin trusted, and then he went. Thankfully, he betrayed him. Because had they had Hitler and Russia together fighting against Europe, it could have been a different outcome. So.
Yeah. And, I've been watching a few videos, World War II related stuff and Battle of Britain and all that. And you really wonder, had Germany been able to take over Great Britain, would Hitler still have invaded Russia? I think he would have.
Yeah, and he was full of himself, so he thought he could do it. I think that was his biggest mistake, because he had Stalin there and Stalin's soldiers that were willing to help take over Europe, and by betraying him, that's how many German soldiers died in the battle for Stalingrad. It was like 1 million or something like that, and so those soldiers could have been used against the Allied forces instead of being against Russia, and it could have been a much messier outcome.
No, that's true. That's true, because if he occupies Great Britain, then that cuts off all the sea lanes. I mean, there's no reason for stuff to come from the United States to Europe, because he would have controlled everything from France up through Norway and all that. So he would have cut off the Soviet Union from that way.
Yeah, and Britain was basically the last. They were the ones that kind of kept the others together there in Europe. That had they lost, then there might not have been a will for anybody else to really fight.
Yeah,
country-wise, there would have been insurgents and things like that. But yeah,
history would have been a lot different. We probably wouldn't have gone to North Africa. Rommel and his folks would have probably been able to go all the way through the Suez Canal and
oh yeah, they could have had the whole Western Hemisphere.
Control the oil fields of
or Eastern Hemisphere. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
Whichever side of the world that is, they could have had it all.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't. I mean, the British held them off and survived, and as a result, we almost sunk the island with all the weapons and arms. Because that was the other thing that happened to the Germans, and they were so arrogant they didn't know this. We had cracked the Enigma.
Yes.
And we were reading their communiques, and so the reason that the submarine stuff was so successful early, and then we broke the code and changed up how we ran our convoys and everything. And even some of the other pieces that I've seen, the Germans were they could not believe that anybody else could crack the Enigma. The Enigma was in their mind top secret, and yet we were sitting there reading a lot of that stuff, and we kind of knew what the Germans were doing before the Germans knew what the Germans were going to do.
Yeah, and we unfortunately we had to let some things happen so they wouldn't realize that we had cracked that, and so there were some lives lost and things like that we knew about that our people knew about ahead of time, but in order to keep that secret that we cracked the code, we had to let some of those things continue.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's interesting, a very interesting history. And then also, if you compare, the beginning of all that, the Hitler and the Sudetenlands, he started taking over pieces, and people said, "Okay, just stop there." And he said, "Okay, yeah, I'll stop here until the next time. These are German-speaking people. The history is German. We're going to take them over," just like Putin's doing with Ukraine. It's very eerily similar.
It is, and that's been the beauty of the American experiment, because for the most part in America, for most of its history, we didn't divide us up by those. I mean, people did, but as a country, we didn't. And so
the melting pot, we all come together, and
and I'm afraid what you see today in the critical race theory and the 1619 project and all this other kind of stuff, and even in our government regulations and in our rules and guidelines, we're basically forcing people in. You are a part of a group, and we're going to define that group, and it's going to be based on your skin color and your so we're in essence we're ruining the system that allowed,
we're recreating racism.
Exactly, and we're recreating the type of things that you see going on in Europe right now with these are Russian separatists, and so they need to be a part of Russia and all that kind of stuff, and we're losing the nationalism, and that's what scares people to death in this country. Is if we continue on the path that we are, we're going to see very similar type. Not that Putin's going to come over to the United States and annex the Russian-speaking portion of Buffalo,
right?
But we're going to tear ourselves apart, is what's going to happen, and we're going to lose the unity that is the United States of America.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the goal of that narrative that's getting pushed on the on the grand scale. The other people are just the sheep that carry it out, that don't know what they're doing. But it definitely weakens our country when we're not unified. So.
No, and there's always been. I mean, there's always been the different cultures, and there's always been people that have tended to stick within their cultures and so forth. But as far as constitutional law and the rule of law and private property rights and intellectual property rights and how the government treats everybody, that's not been the case.
Yeah.
At least if it hasn't been in practice, it has been in law. And now we're going to favor certain groups. Like certain people can get the monoclonal antibodies.
Right.
Certain people can get these jobs. Certain people can get this, and because these are whatever reason disadvantaged or whatever. And it's like, no. You remove the barriers, and then you let everybody achieve to the greatest extent that they want to.
The pursuit of happiness. Pursuit means action is taken toward happiness.
That's right.
It's not, we're going to give you happiness.
That's right. The pigeon saluting Putin is pretty funny on your...
That's hilarious.
I don't know. History, I don't know. People don't pay any attention, unfortunately. So, and then I don't even know if our president is even working. There's a big question. I think the person filling in for the Psaki could not confirm whether or not Biden actually worked 1 week here recently.
Wow.
Well, we're not seeing anything on the schedule. What did the president do this week? Well,
He volunteered at a daycare center.
He brought the ice cream. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Well, what do you have for us in the way of a funny antidote or something?
Well, how does every Russian joke start?
I think I know the answer, but I don't want to.
You know what? By looking over your shoulder.
Did you hear the one about the communist? Yeah, there's a political officer standing by somewhere.
Yeah. What do you call a gassy Russian?
A gassy Russian. Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin.
That's a good one.
What is meant by an exchange of opinions in a meeting with Putin and his cabinet?
What is meant by?
An exchange of opinions in a meeting with Putin and his cabinet.
I don't think that happens. What's the meaning?
Well, when Putin and the cabinet come to a party meeting with their own opinions and they leave with Putin's opinion.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's exactly. I was going to say, I didn't think there was any sharing of anything.
No debate.
No, that's right. Whatever Putin wants.
My last one for today. What did the Russian people light their houses with before they started using candles?
Electricity.
Yes.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah. That was used for a few different things.
Yeah. Well, Reagan used to tell some great Soviet jokes, too. So go back and watch some of his video clips from his...
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get some Reagan jokes.
Reagan humor. So, well, let's see what the old markets are doing if you have time for that.
I think I got time for that.
All right. Here's Aaron.
All right, this is Aaron Irving with LPL Financial, member of FINRA and the SIPC, bringing you your mid-morning stock market report for Wednesday, February 23rd. The S&P 500 moved lower today, falling deeper into correction territory amid escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.4%, while the S&P 500 lost 0.5% after closing more than 10% off of its January 3rd record close yesterday. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite was off by about 0.8%. Stocks declined broadly, with some reopening plays like airlines and cruise lines in the red, as well as some tech names. Delta Airlines lost nearly 2%, while Tesla was off by 2.5%. Retailers were a sea of red, with Macy's down 5% and TJX companies down more than 7%. Best Buy was down 3% and Nordstrom was down 2%. Meanwhile, home retailing giant Lowe's rose more than 4% after beating earnings forecasts and announcing a sales increase of 5%. The Dow is in the red for its fifth straight session as investors are watching the brewing tensions between Russia and Ukraine. The Ukraine Ministry of Digital Transformation said today that there was another mass denial of service attack today that prevented certain entities from accessing government websites. Yesterday afternoon, President Biden announced a first tranche of sanctions against Russia. The measures target Russian banks, the country's sovereign debt, and 3 individuals. The VanEck Russia ETF, a U.S.-traded security which invests in top Russian companies, dropped more than 7% today. Currently, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is off by 54 points at 33,542. The S&P 500 is 17 points lower at 4,286, And the NASDAQ Composite is off by 89 points to 13,292. West Texas Intermediate crude is up 60 cents a barrel to $92.51. Stocks of local interest. Holly Frontier Corporation is down $3.10 a share at $31.34. Walmart is off by a nickel at $136.40 a share. EOG Resources is up 15 cents a share at $109.68. And ConocoPhillips is 27 cents higher at $88.10 a share. This is Aaron Irving with Oakley & Irving Wealth Management, serving business owners and energy industry professionals in the Pecos Valley and beyond. You can find us at oiwealth.com, or at our offices in Artesia and Carlsbad. You can call us at 575-887-7075. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA, and the SIPC.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Be careful when you're putting Putin on the Ritz on your cracker today. So
definitely.
All right.
Don't eat the caviar.
There you go. All right. Thanks a lot, Aaron. We'll be back in just a moment.
The truth and nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Think of it this way. How much leverage can Joe have? Joe is out there saying, we're going to act together and we're going to put more sanctions. This is a violation of international law. Do you think Putin cares what Joe Biden thinks? He doesn't care. You know, we're going to put sanctions on sovereign debt. That means that if the Russian government wants Western financing, he doesn't need your financing, Joe, because your energy policies made him richer than he's been in 20 years. Great job. So it's not going to matter. And where are you going to get the 268 million barrels of oil that you got last year from Russia? If you put all these sanctions, maybe he says, you know what, the hell with you. I'm not going to do a thing. OPEC has already turned you down, 5, 6, 7, 8 times already?
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We need a dedicated leader as mayor of Artesia, someone with the time and experience to serve and who is dedicated to Artesia. Please vote for Luis Flores for mayor.
I believe in a vision before a plan because the difference would be about planning the future with imagination and wisdom. I believe a plan would be more effective once you have your team assembled because you would be able to achieve your vision that you had in mind. I believe that before you can execute a vision or a plan, you must be able to unite a team so that you would be able to bring your team together and buy into your vision and plan. I believe that a leader would be able to command his team and work towards a vision, a plan with communication and a united effort. I believe I can be that leader for Artesia.
Tuesday, March 1st, vote for a mayor who is experienced in local government, who has the time to serve, and most of all, will be 100% focused on representing the citizens of Artesia. Vote Luis Flores, mayor of Artesia.
Jesus once said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Hey, I'm Pastor Nolan with Catalyst Church in Artesia. It's safe to say that we've all faced trouble over the last year. Work, school, sports, and many other social functions have been dramatically impacted, and we're still not quite back to normal. It can be overwhelming just to think about all the changes we have faced. Jesus' words still ring true for us today, and we can have courage knowing that no matter what we face in this world, there is one who has overcome it. I want to personally invite you to Catalyst Church on the corner of 13th and Hermosa in Artesia. The dress is casual, the teaching is helpful, the music rocks, and your kids will have a blast. Our worship service begins at 10 a.m., and we would love for you to join us. We hope to see you this Sunday at Catalyst Church.
Hi, Artesia. I am Kimberly Medley, City Council candidate representing District 3. If elected, I would put politics aside with the intention of making positive changes to the future of Artesia. I want the voices of the community to be heard and to help find answers. I would like to work towards better recreation programs for the youth in Artesia. I may only be one voice, but I will be a big voice serving the city, its employees, and the community. Thank you, Artesia. I am Kimberly Medley, and I would like to earn your vote on March 1st.
Pecans are a big deal here in Chaves County. We have some of the biggest orchards in the country, and lots of us have pecan trees in our yards. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Whether you have one pecan tree or 1,000 of them, this time of year, every pecan tree needs fertilizing. So come see us at Roswell Seed Company, and we'll get you fixed up with the right fertilizer for your pecan trees, so that next year, your nuts will be big and beautiful. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Artesia Plumbing and Heating is your authorized Carrier air conditioning dealer. Home owned and operated for over 41 years. Artesia Plumbing and Heating installs residential, commercial, and industrial air conditioners. Artesia Plumbing and Heating handles your plumbing, heating, and air conditioning needs, including the conversion of evaporative coolers to refrigerated air systems. Cut cooling costs with high-efficiency Carrier unit. Artesia Plumbing and Heating is a proud supporter of the Artesia Bulldogs and Lady Dogs and wishes them the very best in this sports season. Artesia Plumbing and Heating, 746-3712.
Hey, we're back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and Raylyn Bean is here. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So you were telling me you are now, Leah left.
Leah left.
And you have been promoted to her position,
I
or
have.
to that position.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So what do you get to do now? Everything you've been?
Everything I've been doing, right?
Yeah, well, good for you.
Yeah.
So
She and I worked well together, and we kind of commingled, and both of us could do what the other one did. You know, it's good to have that redundancy for sure.
yeah. Well, now with the indoor mask mandate off, and some of the other things that have kind of fallen to
Right.
the wayside. One of the things I know you guys really enjoyed doing was going out to the schools and doing the demonstrations, the safety demonstrations.
Absolutely.
So,
And we were able to do that this past year with some restrictions, of course. But yeah, we love getting out into the schools and doing that safety demonstration. So we'll start that probably back up in the fall.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah.
I know we want to talk about the home energy audits.
Yes.
And those had kind of been suspended until the spring.
Right.
But you have some good news.
I do. So Green Metal Energy contacted us last week and said that they are coming back before the April 1st date that they had originally gave us. So they are currently scheduling home energy audits. And so if you're interested in getting your home looked at to see where you're losing air, heating and cooling, where you could save some energy, they'll go in and they'll do some weather stripping for you. They'll adjust doors. If you can see daylight around your doors, you're losing heating and cooling through those doors.
Mm-hmm.
And they will adjust those doors to try and fix that.
You mean I don't have to use a towel anymore?
You don't have to use a towel anymore.
How many people do that?
A lot, probably. I mean, honestly, my windows are bad at my house, and I've got some towels stuck in the windows, but
Yeah.
and that's just to keep the dirt out. I need new windows. But they'll go and look at your insulation. They'll look at your ductwork, because sometimes critters get in and mess with your ductwork, and you don't realize, especially in like a mobile home or something like that, where you're heating and cooling underneath your home.
Mm-hmm.
And just because critters have got holes in there, and they'll go in and they'll look at that stuff and make some minor repairs, and that's all free to CVE members. So
Did you say free?
I did. No cost, cost or free, however you want to look at it.
Oh, well, that's great.
Absolutely.
And so this is for residential customers.
Residential customers.
Of Central Valley Electric Cooperative.
Yes.
And so you have customers in Eddy County, Chaves County?
We do. We do. They actually scheduled a couple this week that were in Roswell and the Dexter area, and got those guys their audits, and
Good.
now they're just waiting on some more names that they can call and schedule.
Well, energy can be so expensive for folks, and
Absolutely.
And so you don't want to waste any of it.
No.
Whether
absolutely.
it's the heating like we're using now, or whether it's the air conditioning when we get into the spring and the
Right.
summer.
Right.
And that's why you want to have your windows checked and the ductwork checked. And do they check your insulation level, or
They do. They'll kind of
Okay.
tell you what your insulation level is, and then they'll tell you if they recommend that you get more insulation or if your insulation is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I wonder, does insulation ever wear out? I've never read or heard if there's an expiration date on
I don't
insulation.
know that it wears out, but I know that I've got that white cottony insulation in my attic, and it can get moved and shifted around, and sometimes you just need to
kind of
level it back out, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess you can add to it. You don't ever
you
have
can
to get rid of
always-
it. So
Right, you can always add it on top.
yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How long do they generally take to do one of their audits at a
You know,
home?
I'm going to say it's at least an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and just depending on what's going on at your house. So the first thing they do is they come in and they do what's called a blower door test, and to me they basically they seal off all your vents, and they put this machine on there, and it kind of pressurizes almost your house so they can find where you're losing heating and cooling, you know, through plumbing penetrations, through outlets, and different things like that. And they'll go and they'll do some foam insulation around those plumbing penetrations, and put some foam gaskets behind those outlet covers, and there's different things like that that are going to help. I know when they came to my house, they put weather stripping on the windows, and door sweeps on the doors, and when they were at my house, they did an amazing job. And it's Green Metal Energy. They're out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they do an amazing job.
Okay.
They really do.
So they're back in the area.
They are back in the area.
So you can start booking your appointment.
Yes.
To do that.
So what you'll do is you'll call me, and then I will send your information over to Olivia with Green Metal Energy, and then she'll contact you and schedule a time.
Okay. You need to worry about pets or stuff like that when they're in there doing their stuff? Other than you don't want the pets attacking the...
Right. So they do require that you're at your home when that happens. And if you have pets, you can
take care of that.
Whatever you need to do with them.
Okay.
If they're friendly, they don't mind. They didn't mind my dogs. So
Yeah, they would not have liked our dachshunds. They ankle biters. They would have been yipping and barking the whole time.
Right.
So they've been crazy. So so they just call. So the CVE residential customer, this is who's eligible for this.
Right.
They call you.
Yes, sir.
And then you give that information to Green Metal, and then they will get the call from Green Metal that will do the scheduling.
That's correct.
Okay, that way you know it's all on the up and up.
Right. Well, and that way we can verify that they're actually a member and get them that information.
Well, good.
Yep.
Annual meeting's coming up.
Annual meeting is coming up March 19th.
Okay.
And it's going to be a little bit more condensed than normal. It's going to be at 10 o'clock, and registration will start at 9. And the annual meeting books should be going out in the next couple of weeks. That's going to have Chuck Pinson's executive report. It's going to have our board president, Chuck Wagner's president's report. It's going to have all the financials. It's going to have everything in it. There are some bylaw changes that are being proposed. Those will also be in there. And then you can see who the nominating committee nominated for the 3 board seats that are up for election.
Okay.
So all that'll be in that annual report. And then you come to the meeting, and it's going to be quick and easy, and we'll just vote on board members, bylaw changes, approve the reports, and give out door prizes.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty
The
good.
fun stuff.
Yeah, and gift cards.
And gift cards, yes. The first 200 people that register will get a gift card, a $50 gift card.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the door prizes will
And then
be
the
in.
door prizes. And then we always have giveaways when they register.
So, okay. So mark that on your calendar.
Yes,
and
yes.
It'll be at the Estelle Yates Auditorium.
Correct.
On the campus of Artesia High School. Doors open at
9 a.m.
and then the meeting starts
At 10.
At 10.
Yep.
Okay. And then you should be out of there in time to go find food somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's plenty of places in town that
I don't know. Saturday gets to be a little bit of a challenge.
that's true. That's true.
There are plenty, but
Right.
not as many as there are. But that's okay. You'll find food. Go home and cook something.
Right? You can go to Walmart, buy your food with your $50 gift card. And
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Well, good. Was there anything else we need to touch on today?
Oh, no, but if anybody's interested in a home energy audit, just give me a call at 575-746-3571.
Okay. And the energy audits are back, and they're
They
starting to book appointments. So, well, very good. Is there anything else?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. We've got basketball tomorrow.
All right.
The girls are playing Goddard at 5:30.
At Goddard.
I'm not going to ask you who you're rooting for.
Artesia Bulldogs.
And then Lovington boys will be at Goddard at 7 o'clock.
All right.
So Goddard girls and boys are both playing, but the girls are playing Artesia and the boys are playing Lovington Thursday. And then the winners, the boys winner comes here.
Okay.
Plays Artesia Friday night at 6. And the girls winner goes to Portales and plays at 6 o'clock at Portales.
On Friday?
On Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the district tournament.
All right.
Is going on. Roswell boys and girls got beat last night at Clovis.
Okay.
So they're probably done for the year. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get a state tournament
Seeding.
Invitation.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Kind of an off year for them.
Right.
So. Anyway, that's what's going on there.
Good.
I was going to mention one other thing because I had some folks ask me to mention this. Where did the flyer go? Here it is. The Roswell Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, awesome.
Is going to be in Artesia Saturday with one of their family concerts. They're going to perform Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
And it'll be, they're doing 2 concerts on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. at the Pearson Auditorium in Roswell.
Okay.
And then they're going to pack everything up, come down to Artesia, and be at the Estelle Yates Auditorium Saturday at 4:30.
Awesome.
So,
is that a free event?
I
don't know.
think it is in Artesia. Now, there may be a ticket price in Roswell, but I think the one in Artesia, if I understand correctly, I'm hoping, I have my fingers crossed, that we're going to get to interview the conductor, Mr. Farrar, Dr. Farrar, on Friday.
Awesome.
I've never talked to him before, so
Right.
kind of thinking how I need to act when you talk to concertmeister.
Right.
So anyway, well, thanks for coming in.
Sure, thank you.
All right, folks, that's it for the show today. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
As the region braced for further confrontation after President Vladimir Putin received authorization to use military force outside his country. Meanwhile, President Biden still holding out hope for a peaceful resolution in the Ukraine crisis. More from Greg Clugston.
Despite his tough words toward Russia's Vladimir Putin and the announcement of U.S. economic sanctions, the president said the U.S. and its allies are still open to diplomacy if Moscow is serious.
When all is said and done, we're going to judge Russia by its actions, not its words.
Mr. Biden said whatever Russia does next, the West is ready to respond with unity, clarity, and conviction. Greg Clugston, Washington.
So how do you feel about President Biden's handling of the Ukraine crisis? There's a new Gallup poll.
Just 36% of those surveyed approve of the way Mr. Biden is dealing with the situation. The pollster states that Biden's overall job approval has shown no meaningful improvement since last fall, when it declined after the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Gallup adds that high inflation and the continuing coronavirus pandemic are likely 2 factors keeping Biden's approval rating down. Rich Thomason reporting.
Also at townhall.com, jurors now deliberating in the federal trial of 3 fired Minneapolis police officers charged with violating George Floyd's civil rights. J. Alexander King, Thomas Lane, and Doe Tao are charged with depriving Floyd of his right to medical care when Officer Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes as the 46-year-old black man pleaded for air before going silent. More at townhall.com.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait, the risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/LBox to save 40%. That's legacybox.com/LBox to get started and save. legacybox.com/LBox.
Fewer babies were born in South Korea last year than since records began.
South Korea's fertility rate is thought to be the lowest in the world. It's significantly lower than other developed countries struggling with declining populations, such as Japan. These new figures for the pandemic year of 2021 will be worrying for South Korea's government, which is encouraging people to start families through cash handouts. The authorities in the capital, Seoul, recently announced parents would receive vouchers worth $1,600 per newborn on top of national benefits. Analysts suggest the money may be needed. They say economic uncertainty and rising house prices are among the main reasons South Koreans aren't having children.
BBC correspondent Will Leonardo. Tonga's main internet connection to the rest of the world finally restored more than 5 weeks after a huge volcanic eruption and tsunami severed a crucial undersea cable. The fiber optic cable was fully operational on Tuesday. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. In consumer news, Ford recalling more than 330,000 Mustangs in the U.S. to fix backup camera displays that can go blank or become distorted.
The recall covers cars from the 2015 to 2017 model years. Documents posted by U.S. safety regulators say the rear view camera wiring can become loose or damaged, causing the problem. Notices will be mailed to owners starting March 7th. They'll get another letter when parts are ready.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Dealers will repair the deck lid wiring harness and possibly replace the camera. Automaker Stellantis says it made $15.2 billion in its first year after it was formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and PSA Group. And it will pay out record profit-sharing checks to unionized U.S. workers of $14,670. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind and cool temperatures again today with a cold front moving into eastern New Mexico. We'll be in the mid to upper 40s, wind gusting to 30 miles per hour, but we should have sunshine. Pretty cold for the overnight hours and windy. Our low dropping to about 20 and clear. Then we'll be getting sunshine on Thursday, afternoon highs